Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Lexi Division. We are here tonight for season number 5. It is round 6 of the championship as we take on the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from the Jeddah Corniche circuit. My name is James Head. Going to be taking to the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Tuesday evening. Hope you are all doing fine and dandy as we go, of course, to the land of the desert here in Saudi Arabia tonight. Fresh off the back, of course, as you can see on your screen, from the Qatar Grand Prix, and there were a few changes further down the field. Didn't affect, though, the race result in the end. It was Tech who took the win for BRT from Cameron Dowd in second, ever the consistent man around there in Qatar. Brando rounding off the top 3 on a very, very good day for TRT within the standings. Guillen finishing in 4th, Urpek there finishing in 5th, with Sam, Mateo, Dan, Justin and Max ran off the top 10. In the end, Oscar Belbelby, Choco Mustache and Casper Flack ran off the top 15. There were penalties given, plenty of them actually, in terms of the steward reports last week. I'm just going to get them for the benefit of you guys. Justin, Max von der Geest, Oscar Belbelby, Choco all got promoted positions because Mustache picked up a penalty, and that was a 5-second penalty removed for Mustache, but because he got a 10-second, in fact, actually, no, he got 3-second penalty removed for Mustache, and also 5-second penalty removed as well, which is why you're seeing him there in 14th on the standings. As a result, he was demoted. Mubarak was also demoted as well with that incident with Lafiti. He got a penalty picked up from that incident, and in the end, Mubarak was promoted in the end to P16 as a result of that. Let's have a look, though, at the championship standings coming into tonight, and it is Team Shazoo, for I think one of the first times this season, if I'm not mistaken, leading away from Bunga Racing Team in second on 168, CPI Esports in third on 161, so only 12 points in play coming into tonight in Saudi Arabia. Tatum Racing Team in 4th on 129, Top Team Motorsport in 5th on 124, ET8 in 6th on 98, then Novus in 7th on 76. They, though, have left the championship. Big news there from everyone, and Novus have quit the championship, which is very unfortunate. Would have liked to see them, of course, carried out to the end of the season. Grand Track 10 do take their place, though. Do not take their place, though, in terms of the points. Novus there still in 7th on 76 into tonight. Team TF10 and 8th on 67. The Future Racing Team in 9th on 51. And then Project Visio Racing in 10th on 41 points. Coming into tonight's action here at WOR Legacy Division. Nobody out on the track just yet. We are going to be seeing drivers on a set of intermediate compound tires, of course, first. But what we can run down is who is going to be in what car coming into tonight. And as a result there, Mustache doing a qualifying ban, and Flopman alongside him for TTM. Mustache picking up the qualifying ban. That qualifying ban, I believe, was 4 penalty points. 21 penalty points, I believe, for TTM being picked up. That's why he's got the qualifying ban, I believe. I can't read anything from the notes. I'm just guessing it is penalty points from that. EVE, Finley, and Jordan in for Project Visio. TRT have got 2D and Freddy, which I think are a very, very consistent lineup around this track. Fraser and Francesco in there for CPI. And then it's ET8 Rand and ET8 Radadal, 2 PSF1 drivers alongside each other there for ET8 here tonight. Danny Van Routen and Tom, probably the lineup that you have to lean on, to be honest, here tonight in the Alpine. Andrea and Chelsea also in there for FRT in the Williams. Chelsea sporting as well, I've got to say, the Israeli flag. So, not sure what Chelsea's trying to make the point of, but he is running an Israeli flag here tonight, which is very funny. Rayanne and Damien are in for Team TF10. Joe Murphy and Finn Bob in for BRT. Joe Murphy possibly a one to watch out for in terms of the podiums. And then our new team, Grand Track 10, who I've had the privilege of commentating over in Esports Masters League, so I very much know them very well indeed. Gavroche and Boyaloo, though, the pairing there for GT10. In the hats, taking over, of course, from Novus Racing. Speaking of racing, getting out on track, and we'll see who the first guys are out on track. We will turn telemetry off just for now. Everyone, as you can see, is actually on a set of soft compound tyre, or some of them are. Floatman is, Joe Murphy is, so we're going to be watching on board with them very soon indeed. Gavroche is also on a set of soft compound tyres as well. So we'll ride on board. That is the wrong person that I want to ride on board with. Where is he? There he is. Joe Murphy coming through the middle sector. And BRT, of course, second coming into the championship here tonight. They've had a very strong start to the season, even stronger than what probably the team were even thinking. And Joe Murphy is a very strong candidate around this track. He has won around here, I believe, in WOR Console Tier 1 in the past as well. So he has got very good form, consistently, a very good form around this track. So Joe Murphy definitely going to be one to watch out for, as he is slowing down one of the Ferraris, which I believe is one of the TLT boys. Might be Fetty on and out. That is now comes through the final corner. Joe Murphy about to start us off on this run. The first guy on a set of soft compound tyres that I can see of anyways, out on track, running now down in towards turn at number 1, and we'll see what Joe Murphy's lap time is going to be as he now cascades his way down in towards turn number 1, through the right-hander now, turn number 2, then through the king of turn number 3. Neatly done, I've got to say, so far from Joe Murphy, and now comes in toward the left-hander turn number 4. That is car killer corner sometimes. Now coming through the right-hander turn number 5. And then in towards the very tricky section of this first sector, through 6, 7, 8, through the right-hander 9, through the left-hander 10, through the right-hander 11. Mick Schumacher, of course, crashing them in 2022 in qualifying. Joe Murphy now coming in down towards turn 13, and a 31.7 to start off the night through the first sector. So it's not bad, first sector, but you will be seen towards the top end of the field, certainly in Q2 and 3, 31.2, 31.3 is absolutely nailed on, even maybe quicker than that through the first sector. Now Joe Murphy flies through the middle sector, passing pretty much in line with the Red Sea on the right-hand side of the track, is now coming down the fishtailing back straight of turn 20, and then in towards now turns 22 and 23 at the end of the middle sector. 1 minute flat in the middle sector is impressive from Joe Murphy on an outlap, now coming in towards turn 24, and then in towards turns 25, 26 and 27 as Andrea there sets the fastest lap of the race so far, or in qualifying even, 30.6 even on that set of intermediate compound tyres. Joe Murphy's going to be so much quicker than that. The FRT man, of course, out on top currently, but Joe Murphy through the final corner on the run to the line. I'm going to say it's around about a 26, 27 from Joe Murphy on the run to the line. 27.1, 3 seconds clear of those guys that have set intermediate runs right now. Gavroche is one of the new drivers, of course, of GT10 in the lineup tonight, and he's there down in 20th position on a flying lap right now, coming in toward the final couple of corners of turns 26 and 27. We'll see what Gavroche can do currently out on track. We've got Boyolulo also out there, Danny Van Routen on there, on a set of soft compound tyres as well. We'll come to them in just a second as Gavroche now comes through the final corner. On the run toward the line comes Gavroche, and in the end goes second. Glen Track 10, as I say, are about a midpoint team, so they're definitely going to be interesting to watch out for. As Danny Van Routen there goes second, 27.4 as well. So very good lap times being set here. Boyolulo now on the run toward the line. Consistently the slower driver compared to Gavroche in EML, certainly, and definitely so far here on the first runs. 28.4 from him. Speaking of the fake Israeli out on track, NVR Chelsea coming in toward the left-hander at turn number 20. We will see what this lap time will be. Obviously, it is an invalid lap time. Whether or not he decides to continue on this outlap is a different thing. Now coming in towards, I believe, the pit lane. Yes, he does. So, Chelsea into the pit lane. Joe Murphy out on top, Danny Van Routen in second, Gavroche there in third. Interesting, actually, to note that drivers are coming out on a set of soft compound tyres early on a set of intermediates early on as well, Damien, Andrea and Tom. So maybe the threat is there, potentially, for those set of soft compound tyres to go off. And we wouldn't be surprised, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see drivers on a set of mediums in qualifying 2 and maybe into qualifying 3. The softs do wear off pretty quick around this track. Mediums, probably the tyre to be on at the start of the race, and then the hard compound tyre, again, probably the time to be on, even at the start of the race as well. Dirk saying in the chat, no clue what times we do in FQ, but I guess his time is good. That, I think, in relation to possibly one of the TF10 men in Rayen. Speaking of which, Rayen is now on a lap, coming in toward the left-hand turns 22 and 23. On an out lap, Demizzi saying in the chat there, it's always close here. You know fine well, it is always close around here. Francesco has lagged out the session. I am going to try and fling him an invite over if I've got him on PlayStation. I should do. In fact, actually, speaking of him, he's just friend requested me. That was good timing there, and now we'll invite him in. So, Francesco should be there if I just refresh this. Apologies that you are getting a little bit of a split in the action. I will try and invite him in, though, in due course. He is not showing for me. Might be his AA. He is showing on the... Or is he just showing offline for me? There he is. Right, there we are. Francesco is Gonna hopefully join the session very soon indeed. Rienne, however, though, the French Algerian, now in toward the left-handed turn number 4. And then in towards the left-handed turns 5, 6, 7, and then to the right-hander now, turn number 8. Passing the Saudi Eye on the right-hand side, passing as well the Jamara Hotel, I think it is, on the right-hand side as well, now on the run in towards turn number 13. 31.7, matching Joe Murphy in that first sector, so he's definitely on course for Joe Murphy's sort of lap time right now on a 27.1. We've got many drivers, though, on an outlap. Chelsea on an outlap, Fraser, Tom, Finn, Bob, and Tudi all on outlaps right now. More drivers will join the fray, of course, as the session progresses through, as now comes in towards the right-hander of turn number 19, in towards turns 20 and 21, and then in towards the middle sector split of turns 22 and 23. 1 minute flat, dead on where Joe Murphy was, pretty much nearly to the thousandth of a second as well, through that middle sector, and now the French Algerian comes in toward the left-hander of turn 26. McLaren now getting out of the way on the right-hand side is Fraser, and now Rienne comes in toward the left-hander of turn 27. 9 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock to go. Joe Murphy out on top, Danny Van Ruiten in second, Gavroche there currently in third position as Rienne now flies his way on the run to the line. I'm going to go 27.2. Oh, 27.1 goes quicker than Joe Murphy. Literally said, down to the thousandth of a second, and in the end, 27.1. Very good and strong lap time being shown there by the man of Team TF10. Seeing who else is on the lap time right now. Tom Roberts invalid through the first sector, so that's a bit of a shame for him. Fraser also invalid through that first sector split as well, maybe in Valendale coming through turn number 1. Finn Bob, however, is not invalid right now. Of course, BRT having a very good night, very good season so far even in Legacy Division. Having a very good night so far with Joe Murphy there in second. Let's see what Finn Bob can do though on this lap now coming through turn 13. And then in towards the left-hander now, turn 16 and 17. Oh, riding the curve very aggressively there. I've hit the wall many a time around this track in my league racing days, and I've also been screwed of a race win around here in my league racing days as well. The less you know about that, the better. As Finn Bob now comes through the middle sector, 1:1, slightly down on what Joe Murphy and Rienne were setting, but he's certainly quicker than Danny Van Ruiten in that middle sector. As now Finn Bob comes through the final couple of corners. On the run toward the line he will come, before, of course, embarking on that long long straight on the run down toward the line. About a 500-metre run, actually, through the final corner. On the run to the line with Finn Bob we come. The Brit, is he going to improve? Maybe 27.2? 27.1, and he actually goes second and quicker than his teammates. So Finn Bob, definitely looking good there right now. Out on track, TRT Tudi is coming through the middle sector split now. 1:2 down on Joe Murphy, down on Finn Bob in that middle sector split. But Rienne out on top, Finn Bob in second, Joe Murphy currently in third position. If you're wondering where Jota, by the way, is, he's running late from work, and that's why you are having me voicing you over the first part of qualifying at least. He has been given invites, he'll be joining me very, very soon as he gets back, and probably as soon as he gets a bit of food down him as well. Now Tudi comes on the run toward the line for the TRT team. He goes 6th in the end, behind Andrea. Disappointing lap overall there. Flopman disappointing in the middle sector, invalid, and also... was that a ghosted car coming through there? I might have to rewind that one back. That definitely looked like a bit of a weird moment. Somebody, I think, was maybe spawning into the pit lane and coming into the pit lane, and we just saw that. Floatman coming through the final corner on the run to the line. He's back into the pit lane. Don't blame him, to be honest. He was already invalid. Fetty now on the run to the line for TRT. Goes 8th position, 27.7. Joe Murphy feels like he's done enough, potentially. Rens Thomason is down in the middle sector compared to these guys. 1:4 in that middle sector for Rens Thomason. The Aston Martin now coming through the left-hander of turn 26 and 27. We'll see what the Dutchman can do, of course, out on track. ET8 in a very, very weird position. Been down in, what, 4th, I think, in the standings, or 5th position, and so, certainly in the standings. Rens Thomason now on the run to the line, 27.4. Puts him up there. But it doesn't really put him up there compared to Rienne and Finn Bob. So, lap times are coming in. Francesco, by the way, has got the invite back. He's back in the lobby, I can report as well. But, first lap time's relatively in. And Rienne out on top, Finn Bob second, Joe Murphy in third. Covered by 3/100ths of a second. Out on track right now. Damien Curiel there going 4th as well. Ryder Dahl in 5th. Danny Van Ruiten there in 6th. Currently on board, though, with the experienced man around this track of Mr. Tom Roberts. He's going to absolutely kill me for saying that again on a WOR live stream. now comes in towards turns 26 and 27. He has picked up podiums around this track. More recently, of course, in PSGL, PSF1, where he picked up a P2 finish around this track. And Tom is certainly going to be looking to try and rectify that and maybe make it a P1 here tonight, certainly in qualifying, as Tom now comes on the run toward the line down into the left-hander of turn number 1. So Missy saying a Team TF10 1-4. Former members potentially there. Damien certainly within Team TF10. Ryan certainly within Team TF10. I'm not sure if Finn, Bob and Joe Murphy have ever graced foot there in Team TF10. But in the end, BRT second and third splitting the Team TF10 pair as Tom now comes through the left-hander turn 7 and 8. Now through the right-hander turn number 9, through the left-hander 10, through the right-hander 11, through the left-hander 12, and in towards turn number 13. Tom Roberts' first sector, 31.9. Diabolical through the first sector there from Tom. He's about 2-3 tenths down on what the top guys have been sending on Rayen, Finn, Bob and Joe Murphy. And Tom now coming in toward the right-hander turn 16 and 17. I do want to give him a bit of stick because he is normally very good around this track, but that first sector doesn't really match the top-end field right now within Q1. Could be wrong though, I could be made to eat my own words, which potentially is probably the best thing for me. As now Tom comes to the middle sector, 1 minute point 2. He is trying to eat my words now, or nearly invalid coming through 23, in towards turns 24, 25, 26 and 27. This pretty much quadruple left-hander we go through in towards the final corner, of course, where Max Verstappen hit the wall in qualifying a couple of years back here in Jeddah, as Ryan, Finn, Bob and Joe Murphy are currently your top 3. Tom looking to try and put it up there on the run to the line. He will come. Is he going to put it 27.1? 27.2 in the end. Good lap time by Tom. Found that all, I think, in that middle and final sector. He rectifies that first sector split. He will be definitely up there in Q3. Mark my words, as Flopman is now on a lap time. Flopman now coming through the left-hander turns 11 and 12. And his first sector split compared to Tom, 31.6. Purple out of everyone, I believe, in the first sector from Flopman. Flopman proving for Team TTM, at least, for Top Team Motorsport, that he is no flop here tonight in Saudi Arabia. As Finn, Bob there and Joe Murphy retire from the session as well. Plenty of GT10 drivers, plenty of GT10 fans, I should say, tuning in right now. They're looking quite good in 9th and 12th position. But I would say they're not safe in any stretch of the imagination, to be honest. They are not safe at all. They've got to try and put another lap time. Flopman, by the way, minute flat in the middle sector. Better than Ryan, better than Finn Bob, better than Joe Murphy in that middle sector. As now the Frenchman comes in toward the final couple of corners, turns 26 and 27. We'll see what the Red Bull man can do. We'll run and ball with him through on the run toward the line. Flopman potentially going to go quickest here. Could be our first 20 flat of the night, or 27 flat even, of the night. And it's a 26.991. Flopman out on top, nearly 2 tenths clear of Ryan, and Finn Bob there in third. Very good qualifying there lap time from Flopman there in P1. And Flopman definitely has done enough, I think, to get through into qualifying. Somebody that hasn't, though, right now, is that man. Down in 18th position, CPI Fraser. No lap time on the ball for both CPI drivers, now coming to the right-hander turn number 2. We'll ride on board as well with many drivers. We go through the final 2.5 minutes of this Q1 session. Fraser now coming to the left-hander of turn number 4. Tom Roberts there deciding to retire in the pit lane. 27.2 I think is safe. Anybody on a 27.3, 27.4, I think you need to try and go against. Certainly those guys in the 27.4, I think have got to go again. Maybe just to try and best their lap times. As Fraser's first sector, 32 flat. So he is around Tom Roberts in that first sector. Tom, of course, went 6th with his lap time. Will Fraser, though, meet the standards coming from the middle and the final sectors? We'll see as the Brit now comes in towards turn 16 and 17. Very neatly done, actually, through 16 and 17 there from Fraser. Now it comes in towards the very fishtailing section out on the track, in towards turns 22 and 23. 1 minute point 4. It's not that quick, and he's definitely not going to be quick because he invalidates on that lap time. So Fraser is going to have to try and gain all of that battery back that he has lost and try and go again. He has got simply no excuse now to not go again. He has got to try and find something. Jordan, I think, has lost his left side end plate, if I'm not mistaken. No, just my eyesight. Thought he lost his left side end plate there. He is not on a lap time. Francesco is, though, coming through turn number 1. So the other CPI man trying to add in some sort of flair potentially for the CPI team. And currently, from a team where in Bahrain they were pretty much first and third, they're now 18th and 19th in qualifying here in Saudi Arabia, and it's only the difference of 2 rounds. So CPI really got to find something here with Francesco and Fraser. Francesco coming through the left-hand return 11 and 12, through the first sector split, 32 flat again. Not quick enough through the first sector. Just very inconsistent first sectors from both their drivers. Fraser, of course, invalidated coming through this part of the lap right now. But Francesco, 32 flat, as long as he can try and find a little bit of time in the middle in the final sector, it'll definitely be interesting to see. Damien Nerva's retired from the session. Danny Van Ryten feels like he's done enough there in P8 currently as well. For Francesco, the Italian, now coming in toward the right-hand of turns 22 and 23. Middle sector split, 1 minute point 3. Nowhere near the likes of Ryan, Finn Bob, Joe Murphy. He's going to be lucky if he gets to 27.4, I think, with this lap time. 2D Fetty is going to be where I think he's going to go with this lap time, unless he has a very strong final sector. CPI could be having both drivers out right now. Francesco through the final couple of corners, on the run to the line. This is absolute game time now for him. Comes to line, and in the end, 27.3. Is it enough for him to get through? Judging by how drivers are improving behind him, potentially not. Andrea is one on the first on a lap time, and he's a tenth and a half up for FRT in the middle sector. Renz Thomason there going second position as well. 27 flat coming toward the line now is one of the Ferraris. I think it's 2D on the run toward the line. The Romanian 14 TRT goes a 10th quicker. 13th, he's in trouble. Boyolulo looks like he's in trouble. 600 stand. Fetty now coming through the final couple of corners. Fraser only manages 16th. So one CPI driver at least is out. Francesco, I think, is very safe right now with a 27.3. Fetty now on the run to the line, trying to put it up there. He does. Puts it into 8th position. Gavroche now in the middle sector. 600 stand in the middle sector. His teammate Boyolulo is now cascading his way on the run to the line, but he actually is not improving. So Boyolulo into the pit lane. He is out on GT10's debut. Jordan, however, now try and put the cat amongst the pigeons on the run to the line. 17th in the end from the former CPI man. Finley now on the run to the line. He's done enough. He doesn't improve by 0.2 of a second in the end. Gavroche is not improving either. He is done. Obviously being told that he is done out on track. And in the end, Flopman, the one out on top. Renz Thomason there in second. And Ryan rounding off the top 3. Very interesting qualifying session there. And in the end, out of qualifying, Boyoloo though, CPI Jordan, former CPI man now part of EVE. Fraser, who is in CPI. NVR Chelsea, that Israeli flag definitely not suiting him very well, I've got to say, for FRC here tonight in 19th. And then Mustache, of course, with that qualifying ban for TTM. So that is the end of Q1. Flopman out on top, Renz Thomason in second, Ryan there in third. Let me know your thoughts from Q1. Let me know your thoughts and thinking going into Qs 2 and 3, going forward into the later part of this qualifying session. As I repeat, Jota is not alongside me in the commentary box, which is why I'm just trying to waffle on with anything, to be honest, at this moment in time. But Flopman, Renz and Ryan, a very consistent top 3. Whether or not, though, we get to see that consistent theme of drivers and teams improving in Q2, somebody else setting the top time in Q2, but then somebody else setting at the top time in Q3, remains to be seen. So it's going to be very interesting indeed. Big up, though, GT10 Gavroche on his debut for GT10 within WOR Legacy Division. Very consistent man around this track. I know for a fine fact he was here in EML, because he drove for them in EML, I believe, for GT10. They are a mid-table team, and currently Gavroche proving their worth going into Q2. Fraser there, though, disappointingly out in 18th position. But, out on top, it is Flopman from Renz Thomason there in second. Ryan ran off the top 3 with Finn Bob in fourth, and Joe Murphy ran up the top 5, completing a 10th of a second, covering the top 5. Damien in 6th, Tom Robertson 7th, Fetty in 8th, Francesco in 9th, Rodadell ran off the top 10. Danny Van Ryten interestingly 11th, maybe Team Chazoo holding something back for the later parts of qualifying. Andrea, Gavroche, Tudi, Finley all in. 2300ths of a second separating Finley and Boyoloo in the end, and then it's Jordan, Fraser, Chelsea and Mustache who are all out of qualifying there in Q1. A reminder of the standings coming into tonight if you're brand new to Legacy Division and don't know what on earth this is all about. We have got 10 of the best teams on WOR Legacy Division and indeed on console competing for the right to be crowned the top console, the top console team even. And right now, as it stands with 5 rounds gone, we're here at round 6 in Saudi Arabia. Team Chazoo leading the way on 173 points. Bunga Racing Team in second on 168, CPI in third on 161, TRT are in fourth on 129, then Top Tier Motorsport in fifth on 124, ETA in sixth on 98, Novus in seventh on 76. Remember, Novus are out now within the Haas team, replaced by Grand Track 10, who are 11th, of course, in qualifying overall, or 8th in qualifying overall. Team TF10 are in 8th and 67. FRT in 9th and 51. For the first time I think I've seen in ages that they're not at the bottom of the graphic. And Avicial there in 10th on 41 points. Cabal there saying in the chat MVR is going to win. They would if they were competing, which they're not. And it's really unfortunate because MVR have been an absolute staple within Legacy Division. They're going to be very much sorely missed within the rest of the season, within console in general. Hopefully, though, the team members and ex-team members and whatever do find themselves a real new home to try and build themselves from, because at the end of the day, it's a community, and at the end of the day, we want to try and do our best within the new team. So NVO will be a sore miss, and hopefully, we'll be seeing them back not too much in the distant future. Maybe on F125, if they are definitely up for that. But, as you can see out on track, we are now beginning Q2, and both BRT guys want a bit of airtime, which we're going to give them, because they're the first two out on track. Joe Murphy and Finbob. Joe Murphy even, is the first man out on track. Spectrum in the chat saying, is everyone is playing with joysticks. Only one that I know is playing with joysticks is me, because I'm on a controller and I'm directing the cameras, running down in towards turn number 1. As Joe Murphy now embarks the fake Irishman into the left-handed turn 1, through the right-handed turn number 2. Expect the drivers to be on a used set of soft compound tyre for the start of Q2. Obviously going into Q3, it might be different. They'll be on a fresh set. Now comes into the right-handed turn number 5. Joe Murphy now passing through the first sector split very, very soon. Going to be passing through the first sector split. Gets caught in the curve there slightly through turn number 10. In fact, I don't know what his telemetry is doing, or his lap data is. 31.8 in the first sector. Definitely screaming out to me that he is on a used set of soft compound tyres, and that is definitely proven there by that big snap of oversteer that you see. Coming out of turn number 13. Finbob behind him, by the way. Just trying to see... Yeah, not going to come up with his first sector split, which is why I was flicking on board with him there. But Joe Murphy now in towards the twisting section of turns 22 and 23. We'll see what this lap time is going to be from the Brit. 1 minute point 4, definitely on a used set of soft compound tyres. Finbob in the middle sector, 31.9. Minute point 4 in the middle sector, definitely in the used set of compound tyres as well. Joe Murphy now coming in towards the left-hander of turns 26 and 27. And, of course, where we saw Hamilton Verstappen 2021. Who could forget that around here? Probably the first and last time I'll ever mention that on this live stream as well. Joe Murphy now on the front line. Better 27.4, 27.5 in the end from Joe Murphy. Finbob 27.5 as well. Invalid. Coming through turns 22 and 3. And he is back into the pit lane. Who else is on the lap time? 2D's on the lap time on the run to the line. Goes quicker. 27.4. Tom Roberts. That's a fresh set of compound tyres. 27 flat from Tom Roberts. Huge lap time coming in there from the Brit. And he now goes quickest out of everyone. Flopman invalid in the middle sector. Finley just starting up on his lap time. Rayen now on the run toward the line for GT10, for Team TF10 even on the run to the line. He might be on a fresh set of soft compound tyres as well. Confirm if I'm wrong there in the chat. Rayen there in second, 27.1. And in the end, a tenth of a second covering the front two. Damien Curiel now coming in towards the left-hand turn 22. Minute point 1 in the middle sector. Up there with Tom. Up there with Rayen. It's definitely Team Jazoo and Team TF10 holding something back. Whether or not that we see them out on track later on in the session remains to be seen. Whether or not they will be safe enough as we go through this session. Joe asking, how are we? I'm doing very well indeed, given that Sunderland currently top of the Championship, and Leicester are pretty much lagging in mid-table in the Premier League right now. I'm doing very well indeed. Damien now on the run to the line, 27.1, goes behind his teammate, goes there into third position. Gavroche is about to start up on a lap time as well. Owen in the chat saying Tom Roberts might lag. That's from an incident that happened in EML. I know fine well about that because I was one of the stewards there, and there's been this whole debate going on in the EML Discord server and indeed on social media about that as well. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look at the incident. And in the end, People change their opinions, leopards change their spots. Simple as that. Tom Roberts out on top, Ryan in second, Damien there currently in third position. Gavroche now coming through the final corner, on the run toward the line. We'll see what the team, yeah, the Grand Track 10 man even, can do there in 15th. Yellow flags, by the way, very annoying at the top left-hand side of your screen. I think that is one of the the Team TF10 drivers even going very slow there in qualifying. Tom though out on top, Ryan in second, Damien there currently in P3. Haven't seen laps on so far from the likes of Danny Van Ruiten, from the likes of Ren, so you'd expect to be very quick around here. And indeed Finn Bob, who of course invalidated on his first run. Gavroche though coming through this first sector split is 32.1. So, might be going to use sort of compounded tyres. We're certainly going to be around 2D, Joe Murphy, Andrea, maybe even behind those guys actually out on track. Jav saying here for the Damien Curiel domination. Good to see you, Jav, I'm going to be honest. It has been a very long time since I've seen you in a live stream chat. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Tom Adam top, Brian in second, Damien there currently in third position. Loving all the hate that I'm going to get now in the chat from ETA. 1 minute point 6 in the middle sector from Gavroche coming through turns 22 and 3. Now in toward the final couple of corners comes the Frenchman. And is it going to be Allez, potentially in towards turn 27. Don't think his middle sector is anything to scream home about, but you never know around this track. You can find a lot of time in the middle and the final sectors. Gavroche now on the run to the line. To try and improve on his lap time. Should be around a mid-27? Yeah, mid-27. 27.6 in the end. Slower than Andrea. Only briefly slower, though, than him. Who else is on a lap time right now? Who's going to get the head treatment? Feddy through the first sector, 31.8. When Thomason's actually behind him out on track as well. His first sector bit, 31.8. Slightly quicker in the first sector there as well. Flopman is through the first sector, 31.6. So I think out of notable first sectors, Flopman might be the one to watch on forward. The Red Bull for TTM. We've had a very good start to the season. Once leading the championship, of course, from round 1 after Monaco. And they're looking to try and improve. Flopman definitely not going to try and improve with that, though. That's the pressure of being put under with me on board with you. And Flopman invalidates coming through turn 16 and 17. So we're right on board with Feddy. We won't, but we're right on board with Renz Thomason. Purple in that middle sector. The audio might be slightly glitched. Give me a minute. I'm just going to try and fix that right now. Hopefully that is okay. And that should be beginning to fix itself right now. Let me know if it's fixed. It might take about 20 seconds to kick in or so. Renz Thomason on the line. 27 flat. Quicker than Tom Roberts. And there goes the Dutchman to the top of the timing sheets. Francesco coming through the middle sector. Finbob not on a lap right now, but Francesco is on a lap. Coming through the left-hand return 27. On the run to the line, he will come. And we'll see what the Italian man can do out on track. Gavroche there retiring out on track, 27.657. And having that glitch with the timing screens there just very slightly. 27.345 in the end. And Gavroche there with a little bit of an issue. He retired there in the pit lane, and yeah, just confused me a hell of a lot for a second there. Danny Van Ruiten on the line looks like he's going to go again, and looking to try and go on this lap. Jav saying in the chat as well, there's an EML the other day in PSGL F1 last night, but nice to see you too. I wasn't paying attention to the chat, to be honest, on last night, certainly in PSGL. I was, though, there in EML, and I did see you there in EML as well. Danny Van Ruiten, the Dutchman. The Routing Dutchman. Good to see him on console these days. He is, of course, moving to WOR PC for the rest of the season. He's definitely going to be looking to try and mix up, like the likes of Tom Roberts did on PC, of course, in PSGL. Danny Van Ruiten in the first sector, 31.7. Finbob, though, going quickest, 26.8, quicker than Renz Thomason by 0.2 of a second. We'll see, what the Dutchman can do. Coming through this middle sector, oh my word, nearly Code Brown. Coming through 16 and 17, that was all wrong. Coming through that section of the track, and Danny Van Ruiten there in the end, 15th position from him. Freddie there, invalid. Finley, invalid. Flopman, invalid as well. As I think, 2D could be improving on a lap time. 1 minute point 1 in that middle sector. 10th and a half up nearly. Now the Romanian comes through the final corner on the run to the line for the Tatum Racing team with 5 minutes to go in the session. 2D on the run to the line. Goes 5th in the end, 27.1. Nice consistent lap there from the TRT man. Francesco to say, Dan was lap time, Andrea the same, everyone else currently the same as well. It is, though, Finn Bob out on top from Renz Thomason there in second. Bridadell there currently in third. Tell us there in the chat saying PS grip. Currently, Finn Bob tops the session, so I'm not sure what you're getting at with PS grip. Because he's an Xbox guy. Finn Bob out on top. Renz in second. Bridadell there in third position. Jav in the chat saying, what team is PGR in Williams? He is FRT. And is the sole FRT man actually in Q2 after Chelsea got knocked out in Q1. Not the first time that Chelsea's been knocked out of Q1 either in Legacy Division, and indeed in the Premier League, and probably indeed in other world competitions as well. But Finn Bob out on top, Reds in second, Rodadell there in third, with 105 of you tuning in. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. If you are enjoying the stream, like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. If you are here for Jota, by the way, still hasn't made an appearance just yet. I'm sure he is going to be on his way very, very soon indeed. He might be, I have a feeling he might join either at the end of Q3 or potentially in the intermission between qualifying and indeed the race. Oh! Literally, as I say that, he's just joined. We'll get him in very soon indeed. But Joe Murphy is a better start up on his run. Coming through the left-hander at turn number 1. Speak of the man, and he now coming in toward the left-hander at turn number 4. Joe Murphy now coming in toward the right-hander at turn number 5. Through the left-hander at 6. Through the left-hander at 7. Through the right-hander at turn number 8. They come flying at you like punches. Like Mike Tyson against KSI, potentially. Renz Thomason feels like he's done enough. He retires from qualifying. Joe Murphy's first sector, 31.6 in the middle, in the first sector. Now coming through the left-hander turn number 13, 2/10 up on his lap time as his teammate Finn Bob currently top in the session on a 26.8. Out on top in the session, Renz in second, Radabell currently in third as Joe Murphy now comes in toward the left-hander. The turn 17 gets caught in the curb there slightly, just lose him a bit of time coming out the corner. Might lose him all the time now, running up the hill slightly in towards turns 22 and 3. We'll see though what the Brit can do through this middle sector. 59.9 in the middle sector, 5/10 up is Joe Murphy, and he's absolutely obliterating this middle sector. Now through the final sector, now coming in toward the left-hander turns 26 and 27. This is going to look very interesting indeed from Joe Murphy into all the final couple of corners. Through the left-hander turn 27, he's a man that's been in form in WOR Console Tier 1 around here in the past, and now Joe Murphy sets his sights on the run to line. Is he going to go quicker than his teammate? No, but he goes second, and it's only, look at that, 700th of a second, separating Finn Bob and Joe Murphy out on top. Renz Thomason there in third. Flopman is about to come through the first sector split. As soon as Jota joins and gets settled in, we'll see with Flopman's first sector what this is going to be like first. And he comes through now, left-hander at turn number 12, into the left-hander turn 13, 31.8. Maybe on a used set of tyres, might just be a very bad first sector there from Flopman's perspective. Danny Van Ruiten just starting up on his lap time as well. Finn Bob though out on top, Joe Murphy in second, Renz Thomason in third with a minute and a half to go. Currently in this qualifying session. Out on track. And remember, drivers that got knocked out in Q1 included TTM Mustache with that qualifying ban, included the likes of MVR Chelsea as well. And Jav in the chat saying NVR folded. Yeah, unfortunately they did. GT10 now taking their place in Gavroche, currently in the melting pot. They're in 11th position out of qualifying for GT10 right now. Flopman coming through the left-hander turn 26 and 27. Hopefully, I've waffled on enough to welcome Jota into the commentary box. Jota, how you doing?
Hello, nice to be alongside you. Apologies for all of the delays. The dizzying heights of League 2 matchday traffic causing me delays. Ever the professional, unfortunately for myself on this one. It's not a first for me that I'm late, but it is a first for GT10. You rightfully mentioned about Novus Racing. Obviously, their disbandment from WR Legacy after just the 5 rounds, of course, of racing means GT10 are now given the opportunity to race in the Haas, and nice to see one of them manage to get through to Q2, but unfortunately that person knocked out of qualifying at the moment in Gavroche. But both of the BRTs looking fairly sharp, first and second at the end, coming towards the end of Q2. They're happy at the top, and I would be as well with their 26.8s.
Somebody that is going to be very happy right now on a lap time is Rayen, 2/10 up in the middle sector, now coming in toward the left-hander at turn 26 and 27. He has been very much up there in Q1, will not be surprised if he's up there with the BRT boys, maybe even splitting the pair as he now comes into the left-hander at turn 27. On the run to the line comes the Team TF10 man. His teammate Damien Curiel there goes third. Rayen, I think, is going to go quicker than him, however. On the run to the line goes third. Tom Yusei is flying. 900's up, 59.9. Slightly down, though, I've got to say, on Rayen in that middle sector. Only by a couple of hundredths of a second, but Tom is still improving on his lap time. The experienced figurehead now coming to the left-hander turn 27. On the run toward the line. From Tom Roberts' perspective, we'll see what his lap time's going to be. I'm going to go 26.9, 26.8 in the end. Splits the BRT pair. Damien obviously not improving. Ryderdal was up on his time. He's a 10.5 up in the middle sector, but he's invalidated. 2D, 2/10 up in the middle sector, and still even further, 2.5 tenths up in the middle sector, but he invalidates. Coming through the middle sector split, Flopman is now going to be the one potentially in trouble. He's all the way down in P10. Danny Van Wouten is improving big time. The Shazoo man is the one to watch on board with right now. Coming in toward the left-hander turns 26 and 7. Danny Van Wouten potentially going to knock Flopman at least out of qualifying. 2D is fine. Flopman at the minute is not. 27.159 to beat for Danny Van Wouten. And I have a feeling it's a hell of a lot quicker. Flopman now. Danny Van Wouten on the line. He knocks him out in the end. Goes P4. Rayen there down in 5th in the end. Finn Bob tops the session. Tom Roberts there in 2nd. Joe Murphy there in 3rd. But a relative shock, I've got to be honest. Flopman for TTM knocked out by, guess what? 0.006 of a second in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a given, really, at the moment for TTM. They're falling out of form at the moment, or the team looking to try and take the championship, but just the last couple of rounds have really not worked out for them, and I think qualifying is sort of the epitome of what they're currently facing at the moment. Fair play, though, to Team Shazoo. Top of the standings overall, but the team without a win this season, so they are setting the precedent there. They're trying to battle alongside BRT tonight. TF10, though, also in the mix, and don't discredit ETA, or actually TRT, to be fair. They're all in close proximity, and it looks like we're actually going to be in for a 5-team shootout for pole, you know?
Yeah, definitely so. Jav mentioning what I was literally about to mention. Flopman flopped there for TTM. TTM are going to hate me right now for saying that. It was Jav that said it first, not me, so do not come at me in my DMs a little bit later on for sure. Finn Bob, though, out on top. Tom Robertson 2nd, Joe Murphy in 3rd, but in all seriousness, really good lap times being set by both BRT drivers. Joe Murphy, I thought, would be the one actually that shows the consistency more than Finn Bob around this track. But both of them have been equally as consistent. Split by Tom Roberts there in 2nd. You've got Danny Van Wouten and Rayen in behind, a 10th covering the top 5. This qualifying session, again, is set up for literally anybody to try and take this qualifying session. And I think so far, that's been the order of the day in Legacy Division this season.
Quite of just keeping a firm eye as well on the standings overall in the championship as well. And if I'm right in saying, BRT obviously took a race victory earlier on in this season as well, so they're definitely up there, earning to try and earn as many points as they can. But in the end, look at that, the top 5 separated by less than a 10th of a second, and the top 10 separated by under 3.5. And there's that little gap there, 0.006 of a second between 2D and Flopman.
Yep, and in the end, Andrea missing out by 200ths of a second. Sorry, 600ths of a second even. I'm going blind, quite literally, with that ghosted time that he had on the right-hand side of your screen. Troy A saying he's disgusted by something there in the chat. I'm disgusted by Flopman getting knocked out of qualifying, personally, because I thought he would have been well and truly up there. Joe Murphy has left the session. If you can try and get him back in, that'll be very, very grateful of you. Joe Murphy, though, has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in for Q3. Hopefully it's not a major concern on his end. But to remind everyone of the championship standings coming into tonight, as Joseph was just referencing there, Team Chazoo out on top on 173. Bunga Racing Team in 2nd on 168. CPI are in 3rd on 161. If you had any of those teams, especially BRT and CPI, in the top 3 in the standings coming into tonight and on your bingo card, very well done to any of you that might have predicted that. TRT are in 4th on 129. Top Team Motorsport in 5th on 124. E-Take 6th on 98. Novus in 7th on 76 and will probably remain on those points going forward through the season. Team TF10 in 8th on 67. FRT in 9th on 51. And then Abyssio in 10th on 41 points. Obviously, now getting into Q3, drivers now beginning to go out on their lap times very soon. But speaking about that points difference really between the top 3 teams, 12 points at this stage of the season in Legacy Division, I think proves how open of a season it's been so far.
I think they're 49 points separating the top 5 shows you know how close it is. Of course, remember the most amount of points scored in this for a race victory is not the regular 25 points in this league. So it just goes to show how close everything really is at the moment. But Team Shazoo out on top, despite the fact that they haven't had a race victory so far this season, I think is the more astonishing fact, and that comes from the fact that out of the 5 races that they've done, 4 of them have resulted in a podium, 4 second places. The only difference was the Bahrain Grand Prix, where they got a 4th, and then a Penfez special 16th place overall at Shazoo. But the thing is with Shazoo as well, is their second driver. We're starting to see a little bit of a replication, as we see looks like Rayen just about to get on with a lap for TF10. You know, it's one of those weird scenarios again where we saw this, you know, a couple of seasons ago, didn't we? We were really mounting the curb there, wasn't it? Shazoo ended up doing something that I think, which team was it? A couple of seasons ago that did exactly the same thing. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been. Oh, was it the old PSR team, or was it the follow-up? I can't remember. But the first driver always performed really well, and the second driver was always off the pace. And Shazoo are doing exactly the same thing at the moment, and you can't win championships that way.
To be fair, I think it was, yeah, PSR F7R, if I'm not mistaken. F7R certainly. I remember with Aurelian and I think it was Louis Valentin once in Legacy Division. Aurelian was always quicker than Louis Valentin, and in the end, we are seeing that potentially with BRT currently here tonight, with Finn Bob actually outperforming Joe Murphy. I thought it would have honestly been the opposite way around. I thought it would have been Joe Murphy outperforming in the end Finn Bob, but it's not. Liam mentioned an FRA there in the chat. FRA, of course, still hold with Otis Lawrence the amount of race wins, the biggest amount of race wins, of course, in WOR Legacy Division history. It'll take some going, to be honest, to beat that as well in any future season of WOR Legacy Division as well. But Rayen, speaking of which, now comes to the final couple of corners. 1 minute point 1 it was in that middle sector. Now coming to the final corner, and he's backing off and bailing into the pit lane. Do not blame him. After that first sector, really, really bad first sector, let's be honest, from Rayen. Damien now on the run to the line. He's definitely going to set a lap time on the board. Probably 27? 27 it is from Damien, yeah, and he goes there currently out on top. 2D now coming to the final quarter. 1 minute point 4. Definitely on the used set of compound tyres. The Romanian now on the run toward the line. 27.5? 27.6 in the end from 2D. Damien though out on top. 2D there in second. And Fetty showing us purple in the first sector. Don't really believe that, to be honest.
Finn Bob coming across the final corner at turn 28 as he floors it now to the line. His teammate Joe Murphy just tucked in behind. Finn Bob goes faster with a 26.7, which if that's a used soft, that's not bad going. Here comes Joe Murphy, comes across the line even faster with a 26.6. BRT definitely showing their pace at the moment. The Alpines at the moment are still on their lap at the moment. We're still waiting on Tom Roberts to set his lap. At the moment, however, Danny Van Ruyten hits the wall and invalidates his lap, going through the quick left-hander before the main straight, not straight. So, yeah, very unusual from Danny Van Ruyten, not finding the comfort in the Alpine on this particular occasion. And Tom Roberts has also abandoned his lap as well. So, initial blocks, initial success, and definitely initial favourites, advantage BRT.
Watch out for this man here, though. Rens Thomason for ETA. He has been an underdog so far in Q1 and 2. Now coming into Q3. Is he going to set the time screen to like 59.9 in the middle sector from Rens Thomason? Well and truly up there with Joe Murphy. Well and truly up there with Finn Bob. So potentially ETA having their biggest firing squad coming out to play with Renz and Rodadal here tonight. Renz certainly very consistent around this track. I believe he took the race win, if I'm not mistaken, on PSGL, PSF1 around here as well. So definitely has good form coming into tonight. Renz Thomason now on the run line. Is he going to put it up there? He does. He goes third in the end. 26.8. Little bit of a poor final sector. Rodadal, however, 59.8 from the swing through the middle sector. Absolutely charging now. Coming in toward the left-handers of turns 26 and 27. Liam saying in the chat that the TF days where the community was not full of vegetables. I totally agree with that, to be honest. Rodadal now coming to the final corner. On the run to line, does a Max Verstappen, hits the wall on the right-hand side. But the Swede now on the run toward the line. Former LLR driver, remember, Rodadal. And in the end, he goes third. He's behind Finn Bob, ahead of Rens Thomason. That'll fill him up with a lot of confidence. Rayen, though, a man that has been good in Q1 and 2 so far. Coming down in towards turn number 1, we'll see what the team at TF10 man can do. But again, that first couple of corners through turns 1 and 2, very, very shoddy coming through turns 1 and 2. Oh, Oh, Joshua's gone, I think.
No, I think we're back. I don't know what happened there, but I think you may have cut it out. Hopefully you're back and well underway. I think as you just were cutting out, and then you've only just come back to me saying that I've returned. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't quite hear what you said. But one thing I'm so almost certain about is actually at the moment in the performance in Ryderdal and Thomason, they're both thereabouts in the final sector, but they're about a tenth down. On Finbob and a couple of tenths down on Joe Murphy. So their first and sector lap times though are quite comparable. So it's all about that final sector. That just get that power down early through the final corners. Ryan has choked the car through the left-hander. He's flying out there at the moment as the TF10 man, looking to try and set an early precedent. I think he's on perhaps an old set of soft tyres here at the moment. We'll see though as he comes through that final corner. The RB taking turn 28, a little bit of a lock-up, misses his apex. No, nails the apex actually. Beautiful. Going through that corner with the DRS open in 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and then with that rear wing open comes across the line right now to set the timing screens partially alight, 26.8.
Yeah, I think that's sort of fresh set of soft compound tyres, to be honest, there from Rian. It's the first sector, is what I was saying, is where we lost all the time again. Through turns 1 and 2, that was a very shoddy turns 1 and 2. He may as well go and watch this back. In the little bit of the brief interlude that we've got between, of course, qualifying and indeed the race, I think Rian just needs to have a look at his qualifying lap times and see where he can actually improve going into the race. I think a little bit sometimes, as it just invalidates there. Luckily, it's on a down lap. But Rian, I think just need to try and find that little bit of confidence. Through that first sector, especially, through the first couple of corners, he looked really, really shoddy compared to the rest of his lap. So it's just a bit of learning, I think, more than anything, from down there in 5th.
BRT sending both of their drivers out very early indeed, so they want to potentially give them another shout just in case that they go for the push and unfortunately invalidate their lap time. So BRT trying to give themselves a little bit of a buffer to get out there, warm the tyres up, have a go, and if it doesn't work out, they've got opportunity to potentially slow down and have another go with 3.5 minutes to go in this particular session. I think one of the Alpines is also leaving as well. Tom Roberts.
I have got an Elgato issue. Hang on. My picture's froze. Come on. There we go. It's back. Finbob there in second. What I was just trying to do there is just try and put everything back in sync again, because I feel that the audio just dropped out slightly. And in the end, the Elgato decides to freeze. But everything is back. It's not on my end. It might have been my end in terms of the connection, to be honest. Just dropping out there slightly. But what we do have is predictions in the chat, please, from everyone there. The 104 of you tuning in, I want to know who you think is going to come out on top. I think Jav said earlier on, Joe Murphy, Tom, and Damien for 1, 2, and 3. I'm actually going to predict, and I never do within these qualifying sessions. I think it's going to be Joe Murphy out on top, but I think Renz Thomason is going to be second, and in third, I'm going to go for Rayen.
Joe Murphy's been a little bit out of sync this season in that he puts all the performance in right at the start of qualifying, and then right at the end when it matters, he just loses on that 10th or 2. So I do think you're right in the team. I think BRT have probably got this, but I do think it will be Finbob from Tom Roberts from Joe Murphy, then from Renz. I think it will be a bit of a mix. So yeah, definitely BRT up on top, but I think there will be very close between ET8 and Shazoo, and I think Tom Roberts is just coming across the final corner, turn 28, getting the maximum lineup, and away he goes.
Yeah, we'll see what on board with Finbob, though, through this first sector split, see what he is doing. We'll go on board with Joe Murphy, see what he is doing as well. Finbob's first sector, 31.6, 700s down through the first sector. Joe Murphy's first sector coming in right now. No, not improving and invalidating, not invalidating, but backing off his lap. Coming to the left-hander of turn number 1. Bold prediction there. Rishi saying in the chat from Danny, Ryderdal, and Joe Murphy, he says, for a top 3. That's a very bold prediction from him. Mateo saying, what a timing by BRT. They have gone out relatively early, but I think it's to try and negate, maybe, the fact that they can try and get 2 runs in. Tom Roberts is purple in the first sector. 31.5 in that first sector split from Tom. Up on Finbob for sure. Finn Bob's middle sector is going to come in right now, and he's actually backed off his lap time as well. So Finn Bob and Joe Murphy not improving. Tom Roberts, though, is right now coming to the left under 17. Oh my word, very close to the curb there. Through 17, and now in towards the final couple of corners in this middle sector split. We'll see what his middle sector split is like. He's got very low fuel, which is trying to negate somewhat the advantage. 59.8 in the middle sector. It's not good enough at the minute to defeat Joe Murphy and Finn Bob, but Tom Roberts looking to try and pull it up there, maybe between Rodadal and Renz. If he finds a very special final sector here, it's going to be something. And Tom now, using all of that experience, using all of that gusto that he has built up over all of these years in sim racing, now on the run to the line here in Saudi Arabia, one of his favourite tracks. Does he go into it? Third position. In the end, 26.7. Joe Murphy, though, out on top. Finn Bob there in second. Finn Bob and Valid not going to be improving. Danny Van Rijten, though, 31.8 in the first sector. Fetty also down, so not many improvements coming in right now.
Joe Murphy's up 56 thousandths of a second in the first sector, goes purple, beats his own first sector lap time, so finding more comfort. Definitely wrong with Finn Bob on pole from myself, as he invalidates, you rightfully point out. James going through the right-hander, really chucks the car, but it's not even anywhere close to the limit at the moment for Joe Murphy as he grazes the wall slightly. Renz Thomason, only 5th fastest for the ET8 man. He was looking so sharp earlier on, but only 5th, and he will be at the maximum on the 3rd row of the grid. Chucks it to the left-hander. It's even up again, is Joe Murphy going through the now straight, not straight, with the DRS open a little bit later, and as he will now head towards turn 28. And this will be hopefully an improvement here, as we've got other drivers just about to set their lap times, but we're keeping a firm mind. Joe Murphy loses the front ever so slightly, nice. Or lose a 10th or 2 through there. Might not improve on this occasion. Rayan 7th, Danny 8th, Damien 8th, sorry, Danny comes 7th. Yeah. That's even faster for Joe Murphy, 26th, 5.53.
Rayen is doing something, though, in the middle sector. 2 tenths up, 59.7 in the middle sector. Not matching Joe Murphy, I've got to be honest, in the middle. But Rayen looking to try and go second. Maybe if he finds a very good final sector, he could be on for pole position. The Team TF10 man trying to spoil the party. Damien Curiel right in behind as well. He's invalid on a lap time. Rayen now coming to the final couple of corners. On the run to the line comes the French Algerian. Is he going to try and snatch it from the fake Irishman? Rayen on the run to the line. No, he goes second in the end. It's a 10th clear for Joe Murphy out on top. Rayen there in second, Finn Bob there in third, BRT 1-3, and in the end, Joe Murphy out on top, Rayen in second, Finn Bob in third. At least I got something right in terms of a prediction, right?
We're both right with BRT first and third, just in that scenario. Finn Bob, well, he bottled the potential to be on the front row with BRT in that one, unfortunately. So Finn Bob will take the learnings from that one. He's on the second row, just tucked in behind his teammates, so potentially a little bit of working out between the pair of them to potentially clinch a 1-2 and then manage the race pace between the pair of them. Renz Thomason out-qualified by Ryderdal, and Tudy also out-qualifies Fede, who couldn't even get a lap in at all in Q3. But Rayen, great lap indeed to be on the front row. TF10 will be happy.
TF10 will definitely be happy indeed, and Rayen there splitting the BRT pair. But in fact, it's BRT out on top. It's Joe Murphy, who apparently is a Venezuelan, Ecuadorian, or Colombian, I think, there, with the flag that he is still running. Still, a couple of weeks later. Joe Murphy, though, out on top. Rayen there in second. Finn Bob there in third. Tom Robertson fourth. Rodadell there in fifth. Renz Thomason in sixth. Slightly disappointing qualifying session from ET8 there in fifth and sixth. Danny Van Rijten there in seventh. And Tudy there in eighth. Damien in ninth. Top nine, sorry. Covered by 5.5 tenths of a second. And then Fetty not getting a lap time on the board. Probably would have been down there anyways. Fetty there down in P10 for TRT. Jonah Martin's there in the chat as well. Wishing, I'm sure, all of the guys very well indeed. The two-time F1 Esports Constructors Champion and indeed the Ferrari Esports man there in the chat. But what we're going to do is take an intermission break. I need to grab a drink, that is for sure, because I've been talking endlessly for the last hour or so. But we'll be back with you as soon as the lights go green, which will be after this restart. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Legacy Division. We are here tonight for season number 5, round 6 of the championship. We take in, of course, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from the Jeddah Corniche circuit. A fantastic end to that qualifying session in the end, which saw, of course, Joe Murphy topping the session for Team BRT. Rayen there finishing up in second, Finn Bob there in third. But a review, of course, of last week's race results from Qatar. Tech taking the race win for BRT. Cameron Dowd in second in the end, 400ths of a second, covering the top two. And then Brando ending up in third position for TRT as well. Gian, Urpex, Sam, Mateo, Dan, Justin, Max ran off the top 10. Then Oscar Bell, Bellbeat, Choco, Mustache, and Casper rounding off the top 15. Looking at those results from last week, and judging by how this qualifying session has went, BRT are in a right vein of form right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think they're going to be on their way to potentially closing up that gap, if not overtaking Team Shazoo to make another championship leader in this championship after just 6 rounds of racing. Real mixed bag, of course, as well, because BRT are off the back of a race victory in Bahrain from Qatar last week, where obviously it was a bit of a tumultuous time where we saw what was championship leaders at one point, TTM, end up collapsing down the standings as a result of penalties and just generally just poor Q3. So a little bit of work to do for them, but it's all going to be about what Team Shazoo and BRT are going to be all about. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how Shazoo can sort of climb through the rankings a little bit, because they were a little bit off it as well. And it's all about what TF10 can do, really, because down in 8th place at the moment, and a bit unfortunate, to be fair, to be down there as well, because they would have actually been, what was it? Would it have been 5th or 6th place, maybe, if the tyre did not go pop last week?
Potentially so, and honestly, it was heartbreaking, wasn't it, for Dirk? I think it was picking up that puncture right on the final lap of the race, right in the end. On I think it was what turn 5, turn 6, where he punctured and ended up speeding off the track, and in the end, it went off, and it was horrible. It was really horrible, heartbreaking for Team TF10. But in the end, Rayen splitting the pair of the BRT boys in second gives them a big emphasis, I think, going into tonight. And speaking of going into tonight, let's have a look at the championship standings going into tonight. Team Shazoo leading the way on 173. BRT are in second on 168. CPI in third on 161. TRT are in fourth on 129. TTM in fifth on 124. ET8 and 6th on 98, Novus in 7th on 76, Team TF10 and 8th on 67, FRC in 9th on 51, and then Abyssio in 10th on 41. And remember, we've got Grand Track 10, I can't even say it, Grand Track 10 representing the Haas boys now. Of course, Novus Racing no longer part of the WOR Legacy Division. Grand Track 10 replacing them, a good mid-level team within EML that I've been covering on a Wednesday night. And in the end, down in P9, no points on the board right now, but getting one of their drivers into Q2, really, really good, I think, from their perspective, as apparently we keep cutting out, which is not the best thing.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can get that one sorted, but if you can try and hear me, folks, on this one, we're going to be keeping a firm eye on the track as we're going to get going with the racing imminently, we believe, within the next couple of minutes. But off the back of that one, the up-leading driver from the championship leaders is Tom Roberts, down in 4th place as it stands. Both of the Aston Martins, 5th and 6th. Ren's down the order a little bit on the 3rd row of the grid with his teammate. And Danny Van Roten also down in 7th as well, a little bit out of position. TRT doing decent 8th and 10th. But it's all about that performance from Rayen up in 2nd place against the fake Venezuelan himself, Joe Murphy, leading the way from pole.
Definitely leading the way from pole. And in the end, hopefully it's going to be very strong. I've got to be honest, their performances, 1st and 3rd. But qualifying is one thing. The race is a completely different thing. And speaking of the race, we're about to go into it right now. And we were just debriefing there within the intermission about what possible strategies we could be on. Jonah Martins mentioned it in the chat very fine well. Is anybody with a set of cojones gonna try and go and not start on a set of hard compounder tyre? Because the sim racing equivalent around here is a set of hard compounder tyres, expecting early pit stops from around about lap 10, lap 11, maybe to try and get that positional advantage out on track to go on a set of mediums. But if you wait a little bit later and go for an overcut, that potentially is going to work out as well. So you can get 2 rolls of the dice around here in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, can potentially so. But equally, you've also got the chance of a safety car circuit like this one. Usually can bring a little bit more aggression out of people. So maybe, just maybe, we could see a little bit of an attack that leads to the virtual burnt Mindlander leading the way from the front in what will be, I think, the first time in quite a long time when it comes to the safety car in our perspective. Because I think the last time that happened would have been Singapore, I think. So a couple of races, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a couple of races, and Bert Malander is going to be making more of an appearance at least instead of real life Formula One, because I think it was his first time in 9 races that he was headlining the safety car in Circuit of the Americas at the weekend on Sunday. Whether or not, though, we get to see any sort of safety car is a different thing. Normally, when I commentate around here, you would think it's going to be about a 99.999% advantage for a safety car to come out, or a VSE at least, around this track. But I've also seen races around this track where there haven't been any safety cars at all, and we get done within the first 35, 40 minutes of the race. So it could be two completely different things out on track.
Yeah, certainly could be. And I think one thing I'll be keeping an eye on, as I know that the drivers will be getting themselves close to very ready, I think, in this one, will be towards that midfield. I'm expecting the likes of Flopman and certainly Mustache, who, of course, had to serve the qualifying ban after the team eclipsed over 20 penalty points this season, will be racing from the back. Here we go.
Here we go. 5 red lights about to go out here for round number 6 of the championship, and it is lights out and away we go. And Rayen gets a very good start. Joe Murphy on the left-hand side of the track tries to come across on him, and Rayen has to try and defend off the back of Finn Bob in the end. But Joe Murphy leads through turn 1. Finn Bob tries to keep the door open up the inside line. On that side of the whole compound, the tyres tries to go now on the outside line in towards turn number 4. But in the end, Joe Murphy leading the way. There's a bit of a split happening further down the field. Gavroche and Freddy are involved in a bit of a fight further down the field. Gavroche, though, Joe Murphy, leading the way from Rayen there in second, Finn Bob there in third, Tom Roberts there in fourth, Rotterdam there in fifth, and Renz, Danny, Tootie, Damien and Flopman coming through the end of the first sector.
Yeah, and looking towards the back here as Fede is losing positions left, right and centre at the moment, now down 7 positions as it looks like the Ferrari is struggling. Has he got any kind of damage, I wonder? Don't see anything immediately off the back of Fede, but he is on the hard tyre whilst versus everyone else around him. Also on the hard tyre, so he's had an appalling start as a TRT man. He's going to get overtaken by Chelsea by the looks of things as well. This is the FRT man, nearly got caught out there by his name, looking to get that overtaken on the Ferrari. Appalling start from Fede, down 8 positions. Everyone else managing to keep up with their position from first down to 9th. So other than that, pretty stable start from the teams.
Yeah, very stable start from the teams indeed. Flopman on the back of Damien Curiel, Damien on the back of Tootie. Tootie potentially going to be under pressure. Tom is going to try and pressurise Finn Bob though, and towards turn 27. Tries to get the job done to the inside line. The Brit now on the run down towards turn number 1. The Swede of Ryderdal right in behind as well. Tom and Finn Bob are absolutely fighting tooth and nail. Maybe going to be forced to go for the move even on Rayen down in towards turn number 1. Tom has to go for the move on Rayen, because otherwise he'd be stuck right in behind with Finn Bob side by side, and in the end, Tom Roberts there in third, Finn Bob there in fourth. Looking at the sort of whole compound of tyres, everyone is on, but Fraser and Chelsea further down the field, and now Mustache and a set of mediums further down the field as well. Everyone knows on a set of whole compound of tyres, and right now, Joe Murphy leading the way, Rayen in second, Tom Roberts there in third. But Tom nearly got forced into going for that move on the back of Rayen, and with Finn Bob going wide there in the background, opens up an opportunity for Rotterdam to try and go all the way around the outside of turn number 13. You do not see normally overtakes happen, and in the end, Rotterdam and Renz nearly put it in the wall succinctly.
Yeah, Ren's not finding the car initially that comfortable on the hard tyre at the moment, losing a little bit of time to his teammate, was putting Finn Bob under pressure here. Looks like the second BRT man not able to replicate the pace that he found in Q2 and struggling a little bit out there on that hard tyre with the Ferrari powering at the back of that Sauber. Tom Roberts chasing down Rayen, who at the moment is putting Murphy under pressure. The fake Venezuelan just able to hold off an attack on Rayen earlier on there, as Ryderdal is keeping that pressure on Finn Bob, but again electing not to go for the move on this particular occasion. Using hot lap mode is Finn Bob as well as Ryderdal, but 20% less ERS for Finn Bob. He is finding the pressure, he's uncomfortable.
He is finding the pressure very uncomfortable indeed right now, and at this moment in time, it's bringing Finn Bob into play, actually, with Tom and Ryderdal. Ryderdal sets up to the inside line, in towards turn number 1. Rayen goes for the race lead around the outside as well. Ryderdal nearly gets caught with a bit of rear locking, I think, in towards turn number 1. Nearly get caught up in an incident there. Ryderdal side by side, still with Finn Bob, in towards turn number 4, and in the end, Ryderdal, I think, bravely backs out of that, because if that was me, I would have tried to stick my nose at the inside line and I would have been in the wall and I would have been getting BRT absolutely DMing me after the race. So that's why I'm in the commentary box. These guys are out on track, and Rydell has certainly learnt his racecraft, that is for sure. Rayendo leading the way, Joe Murphy in second, Tom Roberts there in third. We'll flip the telemetry on and everything for you guys at home to enjoy as well. 2D beginning to have a big split in behind. Flopman right on the back of these guys in P10, 2D there in P9. And 2D's the one right now that is under pressure and potentially going to form a split in the pack.
Yeah, he's starting to find a little bit of pressure here, so he might end up being the first leading car out of the DRS train at the moment, which would be disappointing for TRT, considering that his teammate is all the way down in 18th place at the moment and needs to find his pace again, because he's struggling out there. Is Fede at the moment. Radadol still putting Finbob under pressure here, and the ERS has switched a little bit now, as Radadol now down 10% on Finbob. So this lap he has pushed a little bit harder as Radadol, looking to get the move done. The issue is the DRS and the slipstream is very close indeed for Finbob, who's suddenly found a little bit more comfort in his Sauber as he puts Tom Roberts under pressure, and a change for the lead. Rayan changed it back from Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy takes it right back out of his hands again, out to lap 4.
Yeah, and there's moves happening further down the field as well. Or Finley nearly re-locking there into the back of Andrea. Andrea hangs up to the inside line for the FLT man there in P12. Finley there down in 13th. Also saw Flopman get the move done on 2D, coming out of the final corner on the run down the straight in towards turn 1. Job done for him. He is through and he's into 9th position as well. But Joe Murphy leading the way. Rienne there in 2nd. Tom Roberts there in 3rd. Everyone's on a set of hard compound tyres early on in this race, which is going to beg the question when these drivers decide to come into the pit lane. BRT, of course, have got to split the strategies, as of ET8, as of Team Pursuit, as have Team TF10. And you've got Flopman and Tony also in there as well for TTM and Ferrari, for the Ferrari TRT. It's going to be really interesting indeed. We saw Avatar mention that safety car is 100% around here. Safety car is definitely 100% around here. And Dirk mentioned as well there's only 4 teams in the top 8. There are currently 6 teams, I believe, within the top 10 right now. But if you want to play down that route, yeah, Dirk is completely correct with that. 4 teams are in the top 8 right now, out on track. It could be, though, Damien Curiel on the back of Danny Van Nuiten further down the field, tries to loop it around the outside now, through turn 26, in towards turn 27. Unorthodox potentially to the outside line. Danny will be heading to the inside line, and Damien gets nearly out on the wall, and Damien now has to try and fight on the back of Danny, running down towards turn 1, using that overtake mode up to good effect. Now sets to fast up the race, now goes for the move in towards turn number 1. Rayen takes the race off Joe Murphy, and that's too late from Danny on the back of Rennes. These two fought in the ML midweek last week in Belgium. Are they going to do exactly the same thing here tonight in Lexi Division?
Yeah, Damien actually managed to dupe Danny into braking later, and hopefully there might have caused a collision between him and Rennes. It did, but it didn't cause a spin out. As a result of that one, the positions are held the same. I say hopefully from Damien's position, of course, because that will obviously give him not just the 1 but the 2 positions. But he holds on to P8 at the moment. Radadol, Finlay, first person with a time penalty as a result of multiple warnings. Only lap 5 of 25. It could be a big one that for the EVE guys at the moment in the Mercedes. By the way, while this is all happening, Mustache has pitted, the TTM man, at the back now in P20 on a fresh set of medium tyres. So theoretically, he could go to the end of this race if he can make the mediums last, which is unlikely. But with the safety car possibilities around here being extremely high, I don't think this race is completely over and done for yet.
Yeah, Mustache, I think, may have had front wing damage potentially on the car. I'm not sure if TTM can maybe confirm that there in the chat. And in the end, at this moment in time, it's down in P20 as Tom Roberts sets his sights on the back of Joe Murphy. Luca Rapata there in the chat, by the way. PSGL PSF1 champion. Delighted to see him there in the chat. So he lives in Zwolle in the Netherlands. People are going to be thinking now where to visit the PSF1 champion. I will sure be trying to visit the Netherlands next year in 2025 as Tom is on the back of Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy on the back of Rayen, and that is job done for the BRT man. To the inside line, in towards turn number 1. Rayen there in 2nd. Tom Roberts there currently in 3rd position. Finn Bob in 4th. Radadel there in 5th. To be fair there in the chat as well, from Lawrence's perspective, Nordic Ninja thinks Ohio is in Italy, so I'm not surprised that he's mentioning that there in the chat. Joe Murphy leading the way, Rayen in 2nd. Tom there in 3rd. Currently, a big split not really happening. However, Flopman beginning to get back into contention on the back of Damien. Maybe attempting the move into turn number 13. Not going to go for the move, but Flopman has got his elbows out here in the pass, and with Damien making a mistake ahead of him, could now try and get the elbows out again.
And Tudy is beginning to struggle as he's now formulating a second DRS train behind Francesco Largo, the CPI man, as TRT Tudy using overtake to try and keep up with people. As a result, got a bunch of wheel spin and a bit of oversteer as a result, and has actually lost the position to the FRT man of Andrea, who's now up to P11 in the Williams. So Francesco Largo is not going to worry about the cars behind as regards to DRS, as that DRS train now forms behind PGR Andrea. But Francesco Largo really needs to keep up the pace here, because he's about to be a very slow one-man band at the moment. He's now out of DRS on the rest of the field.
Definitely so, as now Finbob sets his sights on the back of Tom. Everyone a bit of a line of stern formation running down in towards turn 1. Andrea and 2D, as you mentioned, now beginning to form that split. There goes Ray N to the inside line on the back of Joe Murphy in towards turn number 1. And in the end, Finbob and Ryderdale getting the elbows out and behind as well. Near contact actually between the both of them, and Finbob managed to get and pulled off the back of the attentions of Ryderdale and Renz. Right now, in terms of ERS, if you are very much a big fan of how the ERS usage is around this track, 81% for Rayen, 89 for Joe Murphy, 98 for Tom. Very good ERS usage right now from Tom. Finbob on 97, good ERS usage from him, and Ryderdale in the top 5 on 82. And then it's Renz on 89, Danny on 71, Damien on, what was that, 92 I think that was, Flopman on 98, and Francesco on 48. So the top 10, all varying amounts of ERS, but the more ERS advantage you have, the more you can use up down the straight, and the more likely you are to get an overtake done.
Yeah, but the teamers are struggling at the moment with their ERS, especially if you are formulating a little bit of a gap between you and the car in front here. Francesco Largo really struggling at one point, down as low as 5% ERS, and he's currently on a bit of a harvesting strategy to get up into the 50s once again. And keeping a firm eye on Renz Thomason and that little battle in front of him at the moment, because Ryderdale lost a little bit of ground to Finbob on this occasion, as Finbob is trying to put more and more pressure on Tom Roberts, the Shazoo man, looking to try and get as many points as he can and do a bit of damage limitation, of course, because Ryan is coming. Is Ryan coming in? No, never mind. Thought he would have been coming in then. But BRT obviously are leading the way at the moment, and Tom Roberts looking like he wants to go there, gets a rear lockup, and unfortunately has offered an opportunity potentially for Finbob, who's around the outside line. And was he outside of track limits when he made that overtake, I wonder, because it's going to be a bit of a squeeze. No Otis Lawrence tactics happening right there. Finbob gets the move done.
And how on earth they got through that without either scraping the wall or scraping each other with the carbon fibre being kicked up off that car remains to be seen. That was absolutely phenomenal driving, I've got to be honest there. Really good spatial awareness from all of them. And now, speaking of spatial awareness, Danny's going to have to give some to Damien, because Damien's right on the back of him, coming to the left-hand turn number 13, under pressure also as Renz Thomason. Has Renz maybe got damage potentially, or did he just have a slow exit? I think rather the latter than the former. I think he just had a slow exit there compared to his teammate Ryderdale ahead. It's very difficult to try and follow in dirty air around this track. Tom now setting the sights on the back of Finbob for P3. Surely not in towards turns 22 and 3. You'll be suicidal if you go for a move in towards this part of the track. And Tom maybe just threatening the back of the BRT man there in P3 right now. Joe Murphy leading the way, Rayen in second, Finbob in third, Tom Roberts in fourth, Ryderdale now on the front foot, right and behind as well. Could be 2 by 2 by 2. Noah's Ark formation, maybe in toward the final couple of corners, as now Tom sets his sights on Finbob around the outside, taking this from Ryderdale's perspective. Bit of wheel locking, bit of banging wheels as well, running down the straight. Oh, Tom nearly into the side of Finbob. Here comes Ryderdale around the outside, but there's no room at the end to try and go around the outside. Tom tries to split the pair. Rayen goes around the outside of Joe Murphy. Finbob and Tom are still side by side coming out of the corner. This is getting manic already. Rayen leading the way. Joe Murphy in second. Tom there in third. Tries to loop it to the inside line. Doesn't. And in the end, they come out with that scot-free again.
Yeah, really good race, a really good close combat racing between these guys at the moment. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But Tom Roberts would be wise to just keep it cool, keep it nice and cool, nice and easy. Your teammate down in 8th place at the moment. You are the key damage limitator in the championship hunt with BRT in 2nd and 4th. So don't get any damage on that car, otherwise you are going to struggle, Mr. Roberts. Chelsea, 3-second warning for him for multiple warnings as FRT. And the recipients, unfortunately, have a 3-second penalty themselves on only lap 9 of 25 as a result of track limits.
Yeah, Danny and Flopman right on the back of each other as well, coming through in that train. Looks like Finley might get the move done on 2D. Soon as I say that, move is completed. Finley through into P11, 2D there. Not sure if he's got damage on the car. I think he is just purely slow on that sort of hard compound of tyres. Doesn't look like he's got any visible damage, that's for sure. But it is going to all kick off once again. Running up the hill, or running up the king in towards turns 26 and 7. And in the end, Ryder they'll can't find the way through on Finbob. Brienne leading the way. Joe Murphy right on the back of him, though. Running down now in towards turn number 1. Tom, Finbob, Roderdale, hopefully going to behave themselves once again. Could create a bit of a pack split once again. And now Roderdale goes around the outside on Finbob. Tries to get the move done to the inside line.
Dear.
But I think Finbob's going to come out of that on top. Oh, nearly in the wall, coming out of turn number 2. And in the end, Roderdale's right on the front foot again. But in the end, Finbob very lucky to end up with that car with no left side end plate damage on that car whatsoever. Finbob in 4th, Roderdale there in 5th. But the more they fight aggressively and the more they lose their cars. We saw Brienne jump 6.5 tenths of a second clear last lap around. We're now seeing exactly the same thing, this time for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, the thing is with Finbob is that he had a horrible tank slapper going through turn 2 as Flopman getting a move done on Danny. This is big news here for Team Shazoo as they're banging wheels and almost locking going through the here there, using overtakes to try and stay side by side around this corner. This is a bad idea. Flopman's still trying to hang around the outside. He'll get a warning for track limits through there, that's for sure. As Damien is getting himself into the mix as well for TF10. This is immaculate racing between them. Flopman now almost out of DRS and having to use none as he goes down this DRS straight, which may allow Damien into the battle. He elects not to battle too hard through there, and they'll continue on that battle at the moment as Danny down to 15% ERS and still remains in hot lap mode. Overtake being used though by Damien with 70% ERS. This is not just going to be 1. I have a feeling it's going to be 2. Is he going to go for the dive? Down the inside line then from the TF10 man. A little bang of wheels. Oh, he's in the wall, is Danny. That's massive for Team Shazoo, who's now down to 10.
And that is him straight into the pit lane to try and get damage limitation in that race. Right side and plate completely off the cards. 3 wide in towards turn number 1 nearly as well. Danny Van Routen retires from the race. Danny Van Routen is out of the race. That is absolutely horrible for Team Shazoo. Top of the standings coming into tonight with Tom there in P3. Danny Van Routen in the end has left the session. At the end of the day, I think at the end, mentality has overtook and emotion has overtook the driver there. Quite literally, he retires on the spot, out of the race. It's points gone for Team Shazoo. There could have easily been a safety car in this race later on. It would have grouped the pack together. And in the end, Danny Van Routen out of the race. Right side end plate damage on the car. I'm not sure, though, if that actually spawned from Damien hitting them to the left-hand side and hitting them with Flopman to the inside line of him, and it was a knock-on effect, or whether he made that mistake itself. I think, honestly, it was more of the contact rather than anything else. Finbob, though, and Roderdale side by side, down it towards turn 22. Roderdale ahead of Finbob.
I'm sorry I'm getting absolutely infuriated by Danny's choice to retire from this race. There is almost certainly going to be a safety car. If there isn't, cool. But in this scenario, there's plenty and ample opportunity to get in this race here. Got more overtaking potentially happening as it looks like a bit of a move from Finbob around the outside line. Will he have the traction on the outside though? He certainly will, and he'll also have the toe. But he also might end up getting caught up short as well by the TF10 man. Excuse me, as Finbob trying his hardest to get as close as he possibly can. Ryderdal is not going to be able to defend from this one, I don't think, because he's going to go around the outside line. Well, Finbob is going to get caught up. And surely that move is going to be done and dusted. Finbob gets that move done. Oh, that's really close as well as Ren Thomason going to take the position off his teammate. He won't on this occasion. I've got Liam in the chat at the moment, in the paddock chat on Discord. Sorry, with all due respect, be quiet. Your teammate and your colleague has chosen to leave from a race that he almost certainly could have got back into. There's half race distance, plenty of racing to go, and he's chosen to retire basically on a reactionary tail as a result of a collision. That's inexcusable in my opinion, and I am disappointed in the championship leaders who once again will only have one driver towards the front.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think Danny Van Routen couldn't really avoid the contact that happened with him. Flopman to the inside line of Damien to the inside line. That knock-on effect was always going to happen. And at the end of the day, Danny Van Routen, if there's no safety car in this race in BSE, fine, fair enough. But at the end of the day, it's costing points for Team Shazoo. I know Danny is moving to PC, and I know that is going to be at the forefront of his mind, but at the end of the day, this should be at the forefront of his mind in terms of a short-term race and getting points for Team Shazoo. But in the end, he's out of the race, and at the end, Tom Roberts is fighting out for the race lead at this moment in time with Joe Murphy then second, so it's not all doom and gloom for Team Shazoo.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Finn has just piled it into the back of Rayen, and I don't know if he's managed to get any damage from that, but he might have given some potential diffuser damage potentially from Rayen. So that might be one to watch here. We'll see as he goes through the next set of corners. Rayen might be under a little bit of pressure, perhaps some rear wing or diffuser damage as a result of quite a big smack from the back from Finbob.
Yeah, definitely. So Francesco, though, into the pit lane. Andrea into the pit lane as well. Center medium compound tires going on. Undercut strategy potentially going to work. Track position, of course, absolutely crucial around a track like this. Remember as well, with the pit lane, it is shorter run through turn number 1 than it is going around the outside through turn number 1 as well. So Francesco and Andrea out of the pit lane. Andrea, speaking of which, is side by side with Fraser coming out the pit lane, going around the outside of turn number 4, tries to get the switch back. Fraser just parks the bus like Sunderland's defence in the championship right now. In 16th, Andrea there in 17th, can't find the way through. Disaster for Andrea to try and get onto the back of this train once again. Not good news, really good news though for Francesco Largo. He's came out in absolute clear air, 10 seconds off the back of this big old train, and that is perfect from a team CPI perspective. But this is going to get tasty. This is going to get, I may even say, towards the end of the race, violence between some of these guys out on track, because it's Saudi Arabia. It is going to be all hell for leather. Rayen on the back of Tom, Finbob on the back of Rayen, running in toward the left-handed turn for 27. Rayen tries to move it around the outside line. I have a feeling, though, one of these guys might be in the pit lane sooner rather than later. Joe Murphy leading the way from Tom in second, Rayen in third. Finbob is in, and it looks like Radadal is into the pit lane as well. So both of them are in. Tom now going for the race move, for the race lead even. Down towards turn number 1. Rayen tries to come from a mile back, locks the end in through turn number 1. And in the end, Team TF10 man comes under pressure from Renz. And Renz is now on the outside line of him, in towards turn number 4. Renz surely has to back out of that, and he does. Rayen there in third, but it cost them nearly 6/10 of a second to the front too.
Losing the rear ever so slightly off of the curb as well, did Renz Thomason, Damien potentially in this battle as well. This is a good points haul from TF10 off the back of what is a disappointing result in Qatar last week as a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits for Finley. It's EVE at the moment as Versio on the back of some really horrible penalties at the moment. Hopefully they will potentially consider it a mistake from Tom Roberts there by the looks of things, as Joe Murphy is getting himself up close and personal with the back of that Alpine Renault, going through the right-hander and then shocking the car through the left. May graze the wall ever slightly. Well managed from Joe Murphy as the DRS will be opening in 100, 90, 80, 60, straight to 0 as it now goes towards the line and towards the next set of corners. He won't go for the move here, but he's almost certain will go for it through turn 27. Oh, that's a mistake from Tom Roberts though, and that's going to allow him to basically be pushed down the straight here until Joe Murphy says, no, you know what, I'm having this position, thank you very much. Here comes Rayen though as well. Is it going to be a double loss here from Tom Roberts? It certainly will be. Tom Roberts down to third, gets pushed ever so slightly. Renz Thomason looking for the move as he does the switch back, and he's going to get the move done potentially, unbelievably, on Rayen after all of that one. They're all into the pit lane by the looks of things, except Damien Curl, who now leads this race for TF10.
And I have a feeling the stewards might look into that, because Rayen and Renz were side by side coming into the pit lane entry. Now, of course, you have to go pretty much line astern coming into the pit lane, and in the end they weren't, just for a brief second there, and I think Rayen was outside of the white line coming into the pit lane. Correct me if I'm wrong, Team TF10. Don't want to throw him under the bus whatsoever, but at the end of the day, from my perspective, it looked like he was outside of the white lines, and Renz had to literally cut across to try and get that move done through the final corner. It might just be ended up as an absolute racing, as a form of racing basically out on track, or that might go to the steward. So interestingly, Renz now down in P8 is right on the back of Tom. Tom right under pressure, and here comes Renz on the outside line. In toward the right, the left-hander now, turn number 13. Tries to go all the way around the outside. Tom Roberts using nearly everything. And now Renz has got the inside line coming in towards 16 and 17. This is going to be crucial. Rayen and Flopman right on the back of this train as well. They make contact with Renz. Nearly spins the car. Flopman having to take, Rayen having to take the escape road as well. Renz nearly went for that move in the end. Don't go side by side towards turn 16 and 17. It split the pack though. That bit of contact has split the pack between Radadal and Tom. That's big news for Team Chizim again.
And that's massive news as well for Cedar Phoenix Igniters as well. As a 10-second penalty for corner cutting and gaining a position. They will try and claim that's a BS move, and they'll try and get that one removed. That's a massive, massive situation for the Cedar Phoenix Igniters. They pitted Francesco one lap earlier than everyone else, and that undercut has worked an absolute treat for the McLaren. He will now try and hold on to the position. Without that DRS, it's going to be a lost cause. Both of the BRTs will get the move done. I think, though, the Cedar Phoenix Igniters will be happy to try and hold on for a podium with this DRS. They're in the fight.
Where is Damien coming out of all this as well, ahead of his teammate? Now, this is interesting from a Team TF10 perspective, because Damien and Ryan can work together. They're right next to each other out on track, which is the best possible thing. BRT are right next to each other out on track. Everyone else, right now, Ren Thomason out of the pack right now. Rodadal's having a fight with Francesco. Francesco got that jump on that undercut with him pitting early. It is absolutely crucial in terms of track position, but if you pit it a little bit later, overcut is more potent around this track, and that's exactly what we are seeing right now here in WOR Legacy Division. Apologies, by the way, if the pictures are cutting up very slightly. My laptop is beginning to overheat just somewhat. Hopefully it'll all be okay. We're on lap 16 and 25. Hopefully we can get to the end without it disconnecting. Jordan leading the way at the minute from Joe Murphy in second. Then it's Finball, Francesco, Rodadal, Flopman, Tom, Damien, Ryan and Ren's top 10. Finley getting moved on 2D down the straight for 11th. Then 2D Andrea Gavroche, who's in that train, could be getting big points for GT10 further down the field in 14. Freddie, Fraser, Boy, Lilo, Mustache, Chelsea, the 19 drivers currently going on out on track. Myself, James Head, Jota alongside me in the comms box. This has been an absolute nail to the mast. Hell for the race so far in Saudi Arabia. We're about to go on to lap 17. Jordan leads the way. Is the ex-CPI man going to cause a bit of an issue for his former teammate, I wonder?
Yeah, potentially. Francesco Largo keeping, really up close and personal with Finn Bob. This is exactly working out to CPI strategy. They knew that there is a podium potentially on the cards now with Francesco Largo. That great strategy call to pit him one lap earlier, and that undercut has worked an absolute treat for CPI, who will now try and battle and get to stents of Ryderdal. And to be fair to Francesco, he's not pushing too hard. 78%, 80% of his ERS is available, so he is managing the race absolutely perfectly to try and take this all the way to the end. Great racing from CPI. Flopman up to P6 and with the fastest lap of this race, trying to battle with Ryderdal. Got the fastest lap of this race so far, as said. So TTM looking to try and hold on for dear life with him, but unfortunately, of course, he has been involved in a few collisions, and Flopman might be in some trouble and might be more penalty points on the cards for TTM. That's massive from Finbob. 3-second time penalty for track excursions. That's massive. BRT could lose out on a double podium here.
And what's even bigger is Francesco's got him a goal for the move on him as well, so it could be all end up in threes. Tries to go all the way around the outside now. Coming through turn 27, nearly in the wall, Francesco, and Rodadal gets collected there as well. I'm not sure, maybe if Francesco's got damage, I think he's got away with it. I think Rodadal has got away with it as well. Damien and Thomas side by side in the background, running down in towards turn 1 as well. And there goes Tom to the inside line. Never going to work to the inside line. There's front wing damage there for the Red Bull. That is Flopman now picking up damage. Carbon fibre flying off the car. Rodadal having to cut across in towards turn 1. This is getting relatively aggressive compared to Saudi Arabia standards normally. Jordan leading the way. Joe Murphy in second. Finbob there in third. But then, at the end of the day, that was 3 wide in towards turn number 1. Tom absolutely lunged that from a mile back. It looked like he partly rear-locked, partly just went too late on the brakes in towards turn 1. It's definitely going to the stewards, put it that way. Tom ends up ahead of Flopman, ahead of Rayen. My fear is there could be a big penalty coming his way.
Was he in control of the car? I argue probably not. With the cars along the outside, you can't argue that's really that Tom will be in trouble for that one. We'll have to see what the stewards have got to say. Flopman might also be in trouble as well, potentially with the collision with Team Shazoo's Danny Van Ruyten earlier on in this race, which then caused him to effectively rage quit out of this particular race. CPI Jordan on 17 lap old hard tyres. I'm not sure if he's trying to go to the end of this race, but if he is, that is a very late call indeed. So CPI have got Jordan racing not for CPI but for the Versio team, the Maltese team in the Mercedes, trying to hold on at the moment and defend. Oh, he's getting pushed around turn 27, and with a DRS available in 100 metres, surely that move is going to be all done and dusted, with CPI Jordan now relegated to 3rd place overall. He'll be hoping, Finn Bob, that CPI Jordan just gives the position up. Will he do so? No, he is trying to defend it, and he will hope that CPI Jordan holds Francesco Largo back, and he knows how critical it is as Francesco collides with CPI Jordan, and now CPI might be in trouble. Oh my goodness me! Flopman absolutely sending it down the inside. He's
Desync.
crashed Finley
Mass
out of this
desync.
race. And the virtual safety car, it's a horrible desync. He's got massive front wing damage. The VSC is out straight away to neutralise this race. But that desync might have just caused a horrible accident.
That is one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen on F1 24. Flopman in the end nearly ended up going inside of 2 cars, and that is horrible for Finley, who has ended up out of that race for EVE, was driving such a solid race. But at the end of the day, what on earth happened there? That all spawned from Francesco and Jordan making contact, coming through turn number 1, albeit if it was lag, albeit if it was unintentional contact. And at the end of the day, they have caused that issue with Flopman and that lag issue there with Jordan. And it looked like to me it was Jordan from our perspective. DRS is back enabled. Everyone's back under green flag racing once again. But that is honestly one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen. Not only in sim racing on F1 24, but I think of all time. That was just crazy. Tom now on the back of Francesco, looking for the move on the outside line in towards turn 27. What this has done is put BRT in an absolutely brilliant position out on track. It's 1-2 currently for BRT. More issues there for Flopman, nearly hitting the wall. Tom to the inside line, in towards turn 1. Francesco's got damage on the left side end plate as well. He tries to get the move done, and Ryan there in 4th, Damien in 5th, Francesco there in 6th. Francesco to the inside line. Still fighting aggressively, and Damien somehow gets ahead. Ren's around the outside of turn 7 and 8. No way! Never, ever going to work. Ren's forced Francesco off track. This race is going to the stewards. Put it this way, there's an illegal overtake, I think, for Damien as well.
Yeah, Damien overtook Ren's. I think actually overtook Francesco off of the circuit at turn 3, and that meant he has to give the position up. But unfortunately, Renz Thomason also got the move done on Francesco, so Damien effectively had to hand 2 positions back, which is just unfortunate, really, for the TF10 man, considering at one point 4th and 5th, it'd be a magical points haul for them at the moment. CPI Jordan continues to lose points for the Aversio Racing team, who now falls to 9th place with those hard tyres. He is trying to go the distance, but I don't think he's going to get in the top 15 as it stands. Flopman has got major structural front wing damage on the front after that horrible desyncing collision. He did go for the dive down the inside line, to be fair, but I think it's just a matter of nobody knew where everyone was on circuit at that particular point. Now falls to 11th place and surely will pit to change off of that tyre, but it might be 0 points for TTM tonight. That's massive.
That is absolutely huge, potentially. Ren's under pressure from Francesco. Francesco invited to the inside line, as is Damien to the inside line on Ren's. Through turn number 1 they go, side by side the RB and the Aston Martin go. The Aston Martin tries to shove Damien all the way to the wall, and in the end cuts across him nicely. Ren's there, nice driving there into P6. Then Damien in 7th, Ronadol there in 8th position. You guys are watching WOR Legacy Division, by the way. This is not open lobbies. This is not anything else that is going on out on track. This is WOR Legacy Division, believe it or not. And honestly, Saudi Arabia, thank God there's a break week next week, is all I can say. Thank God there is a break week next week, because we certainly need a break. These drivers need a break, and they are behaving themselves very aggressively out on track. But in all seriousness, this gap between P2 and 3 is beginning to go up. 2 seconds the gap between Finn, Bob and Tom. Tom is the one under pressure. He has to now work with Ryan. Whether or not he wants to try and build alliances right now in this race for them to get back together in the race, Ryan answers that question, gets the move done through turn 22. Job done for him, he's through and he's into 3rd. Now they need to work together, but that is not the intention. Look at the gap, it's 2.5 seconds all of a sudden. Finn Bob, 3-second penalty, might not even be to remove, because it's 2.6 seconds. The gap is going up consistently, and Tom and Ryan do not want to work together under any circumstance, which they should be if they want to crack at winning this race.
Well, Ryan with that 3-second penalty means that Tom Roberts will face a challenger that will not be interested in working with him, and Ryan will make the move done and dusted. He's not going to work with him at all in this circumstance. Gap now 2.6 and rising, and Finn Bob, that 3-second penalty, working an absolute treat, because of course that gap is now 3 seconds between Tom Roberts and Finn Bob, so Tom Roberts will not take 2nd place out of Finn Bob's hands, and of course Ryan won't with his time penalty either. BRT are on for the 1-2 tonight.
They are on for the 1-2 tonight, and it's going to be a rather intriguing end. Let's just put it this way. And people mentioned in the chat, Tom Roberts could be outstanding the penalty. He could be. That 3 wide down and towards turn number 1 could cost Shazoo absolutely big time going into the 2nd quarter of this season. It is going to be all questions unanswered, I'm afraid, going off this race here in Saudi Arabia, because we don't know what's going to happen. You guys don't know what's going to happen either. For all we know, Joe Murphy could pick up a 3-second penalty, and then everybody is now wide open for the race win once again. I hope not, because Joe Murphy's drove a very good race so far. Finn Bob there in second, Rayen there in third, but they're working together. BRT are working together for a 1-2. And at this moment in time, the gap is 2.7. Tom and Rayen have got to now form an alliance out on track. They have got to work together. Renz and Damien have got to try and work together as well to try and fend off the likes of this man here, Rydal, to go around the outside. But each side will be thinking about themselves, thinking about a potential point haul with the 3-second penalties ahead of them. Are they going to be brought into this championship fight all of a sudden as well? They were 6th coming into tonight, and they're certainly not going to be 6th. I think with how this race is panning out right now, but Joe Murphy leads the way. Finn Bob in second. It's through the first sector that they really gain. But now look at the gap. 2.9 seconds. BRT working miracles right now. As long as Finn Bob doesn't pick up a penalty, I think BRT are on for a 1-2 right now. And it'll be the first 1-2 all season.
Tom Roberts has just ploughed into the wall as well and has lost time to Rayen. I don't think he got any damage off the back of that, but that might just be it. Francesco Largo, 3-second time penalty as well at one point. CPI looking to get some big points off of him. That will now fall off a cliff as well. But you know what? I do think that is now it for Tom. I don't think he's going to be in contention of that second place as a result of that. He's trying to get his time back against Rayen, but Rayen, as I said, is not willing to work with Team Shazoo here because the TF10 man has a time penalty himself. So Shazoo will call the Fernando Alonso card and say, well, why are you racing with us then if you've got no possibility of getting P3? He can do whatever the hell he likes. He's a driver on circuit, racing on circuit. If he wants to do that, then he absolutely can. So that's the situation. Unfortunately, it's looking by around about 2/10 is the delta at the moment. Tom Roberts is not going to get it. He gets the move done. Gap will be about 3 seconds.
And they're losing so much time because the BRT boys are so close to each other. Tom and Rayen are having to come from about 5-6 tenths back, running down the straight there. Rayen's now closer to the back of Tom. Going to get the move in towards turn 1. In fact, he doesn't. This is interesting. Rayen does not go for the move on Tom in towards turn number 1. Now, if they thought about potentially getting a P3 finish and being on the podium, that would have been Rayen going for that move and trying to work with Tom. But now, alliances switch. Damien is in behind for Team TF10 and 6. Renz there is catching them, hand over fist by a few tenths of a second a lap. This could bring Renz Thomason into a podium position right now. 29% of ERS on the car. Rayen's got 30, Tom's got 67. So at the minute, Tom looks fine in terms of ERS usage. But remember, you can harvest and gain so much ERS, not only around this track, but on this game in general. Renz a second off. He has got to form that slight alliance with Damien. Just bring them together, and Renz will be all over the back of Tom, as I think Tom made a mistake there.
Yeah, clouding into the wall again. He's really pushing at the moment, is Tom. I don't agree with you here. I don't think Rayen has any intention whatsoever to be battling with the likes of with Tom at the moment. I think Rayen is thinking about the behind at the moment. He knows that the DRS is now available for Renz. Damien is his teammate, and I think if he gets the DRS on Damien, it's going to allow TF10 to potentially push. Damien now gets that move done. Will Rayen actually look for the move against Tom Roberts into turn 1? If TF10 have got a mindset here and got the correct team mindset, I have a feeling they'll tell Rayen, don't even bother, help your teammate out because you'll lose the position, but Damien will take P4 out of your hands. Is he going to go for it? Boom, he's not. He's looking out for his teammate behind, and now he's right there up his trumpet. Last lap.
And I think it's also to get an ERS advantage potentially on Tom. He knows Tom has got more ERS than him. It's 30% difference between himself and Rayen. Tom can use up that battery and really push on the back of Rayen, on the back of Damien. At this moment in time, though, Joe Murphy leads the race for lead from 6/10 of a second from Finn Bob in second. Mistake there by Tom again. I think getting caught on the curb through turn 9 and 10. Damien
going for a really big half spin and only just managing to hold it to stay within touching distance of Rayen, and Rayen's trying to help him out. I think the dirty air is affecting him.
Might be, and Joe Murphy clouds the wall there on the right side end plate as well. Finn Bob now getting closer, 6/10 of a second. What do BRT do in this scenario? Do they just wrap up the 1-2, or does Finn Bob take the alliance off and go for his own individual race win with that 3-second penalty overhanging him? I think At this moment in time, there is a yellow flag that's further down the field. That is a Mercedes of Jordan, I think, in the wall. On that set of soft compounded tyres. Rayen right on the back of Tom. Spears around the outside line of him. Finn Bob's going to remain in behind, and Joe Murphy, I think, coming through the final couple of corners. But Rayen's into third. Tom lunges from an absolute different parish to the inside line. Doesn't get the move done. Rayen will get third. Joe Murphy takes the race win here in Saudi Arabia. Finn Bob in second. Drag race to the line. Tom gets third. Damien in fourth. Ren's in fifth. But remember, Rayen's got a 10-second penalty, which is unserved. Right now, does that mean Rayen potentially is going to be on the podium after the stewards? Absolute different level of racing that we had here tonight compared to Bahrain a couple of weeks ago, compared to what we even had in Qatar last week. Absolute aggressive racing throughout. In the end, Gavroche on his debut for GC10 is 7th out of all of that. Got 2D on the run to the line. 1300th of a second clear of him for P7. My word, absolute mad race. But one thing is for certain, BRT 1-2. First 1-2 of the season. CPR had a 1-3 in Bahrain. BRT picked up a 1-2. They richly deserve that because they were brilliant tonight. As Joe Murphy takes the race win from Finn Bob in second, Tom Roberts there in third, Damien Rand, Radadal, Gavroche, 2D, Andre and Rayen rounding off the top 10. Gavroche somehow ended up all of that race at P7, ahead of 2D. Andre and Rayen right on behind as well. 2 hours of this live stream, and it all comes down to that. It all comes down to that final lap of the race, the crucial final lap of the race as well. We're just waiting for Chelsea to come across the line. They're down in P18, outside of the points, him down in P18. But Joe Murphy does take the race win. It's a BRT 1-2. Tom there in third. Stunning drive from both BRT boys. They worked that race to perfection in the end. And if it wasn't for that issue with Flopman, if it wasn't for Francesco Logo getting caught up in that incident either, it could have been a different thing. But right now, BRT are on top of the world.
BRT on top of the world will no doubt take the lead of this championship as a result of that performance. But what is the big hitter is TTM. They managed to secure a grand total of 1 point. That's it. 1 point in this race from a battle where they were on the podium. Both of them were on the podium at Monaco. They've only managed to secure 1 point in this race. Their standings will be updated. We'll keep you up to date on that one. BRT no doubt will be they're retaking the lead in this championship. Of course, there will be that 10-second penalty to consider removal for potentially Rayen in this race. He ended up in the end 14.088 seconds back. That would mean he would finish P4 overall. Tom Roberts just managed to pip him to the line. He recognised the importance of getting in front of him. He manages to take that one. Fastest lap of this race in the end went to Mustache, but he was down in 17th. Unfortunately, that point will not carry over to TTM, so they will, again, only take 1 point through Flopman.
But in the end, Joe Murphy and Finn Bob take it all. First and second out on track. Phenomenal drive in the end. Tom Roberts there in third. Maybe a penalty overhanging him in third. Damien there in fourth. Ren's there in fifth with Rodadal in sixth. Gavroche, 2D, Andrea, Rayen ran off the top 10. Then Fetty, Francesca, Boyolilo, Fraser and Flopman top 15. They ran off the points provisionally. Jordan, Mustache, Chelsea all finished. Finley DNFing late on. And also DNFing was... Who was it at the bottom end of the field? I've completely forgot. That was just a Baddock race.
Yeah, I mean, it was just absolutely astonishing, wasn't it, from start to finish, as well as we've got loads of people complaining about the kind of racecraft that we saw here tonight. Unfortunately, the nature of this circuit means that we do end up seeing that one. No safety car in that race, by the way. We were obviously calling out the other Shazoo driver for electing to leave this race. He probably should have stayed anyway, because the chances of there being a safety car regardless would have meant that there'd have definitely been something on the cards. But big shout out to GT10 as well. Big points haul for them on their first race of the season. They'll be certainly happy with that one and their performance there. But overall, let's be candid, it was a BRT masterclass.
It was a BRT masterclass at the end of the day, and it was really intriguing, I think, to see how that race went on. Flopman and Tom certainly complained to each other in terms of that incident that they had as well. I'm just trying to tag Finn Bob in Discord, but I can't find him. Give me a second.
Yeah, I can't seem to find him either, actually. That's peculiar. I'll let you go out on that one as we just take a quick look at what I hope will be an update to the standings imminently, but nonetheless, a big points haul for BRT means that they'll be taking the lead in this championship by quite a considerable margin in this one. Team Shazoo dropped points as a result of, again, the team just having one driver towards the front, one driver at the back, and in the end, ET8 taking a decent points haul as well for Renz Thomason will close that gap right up to TTM, who only take that singular point. CRT as well, a few points for them in the points haul, and what is effectively a disappointing result in the end for CPI, because at the end of it, CPI could have been in there potentially with the points haul, but unfortunately, the medium tides just didn't quite hold on in the end for them towards the end. And then, of course, there needs to be the question, isn't there, about the performance of the likes of EVE and FRT. They were a little bit off the pace once again, but at least they managed to get some points on the board, especially FRT, off of the back of what was actually not a bad performance indeed from a driver that, to be fair, first appearance, decent result.
First appearance, really decent result indeed, and hopefully that does get carried forward, of course, into the second half, the second quarter even of the season. We're not even at the halfway stage yet in the season. It has been that long already. But from Saudi Arabia, from the Middle East, we go in 2 weeks' time to Australia on Guy Fawkes night. Of all nights that you could have a race in Australia, it is Guy Fawkes night. So hopefully the fireworks are going to be sparkling, the drivers even are going to be sparkling out on track, and the fireworks are going to be flying at the Albert Park circuit there on November the 5th. And there's also a big election going on November the 5th as well. Not that anybody cares, to be honest, about that, whether or not Trump or Harris get elected in the White House for the US election. But Guy Fawkes night, 2 weeks' time, November 5th, Australia. What can we expect from Australia as a track on this game? Because normally, some races are pretty good, some races can be somewhat controversial.
Quite. Australia usually brings a little bit of racing that you would expect would be a bit more difficult being a street circuit, but of course the reprofiled layout should bring some exciting racing. I'm thinking the complex heading towards the old turn 910 complex will bring some pretty intense and hard racing as they go through that very quick left-right hander down the straight, of course, and then that is a much longer straight now with the corner now at a more narrow angle, which will lead to, you'd think, some potential dive bombs through there, considering the nature of some of these drivers tonight. I think dive bombs certainly are on the cards.
Definitely. And of course, we had PSGL PSF1 in Australia last night as well. So I know fine well what the racing is going to be like around there. All in all, it was a really good race, I've got to say, last night in PSF1. We saw Matteo take the race win there. So is Matteo going to be part of the ET8 lineup in 2 weeks' time? Is he going to try and go for two in maybe 2 or 3 weeks in races around there in Australia? Only time will tell. It doesn't look like we're going to get anybody for an interview. Tom, I'm sure, is busy trying to report his incidents and all of that. Lifeboat mentioning something to him, and Tom just saying, I ain't reading all of that. So I think that's how the race is summed up, to be honest, there from our perspective. But at the end of the day, we have got the second quarter of the calendar coming up, and it is Australia on Guy Fawkes night, November 5th. Then it's China for the second sprint race of the season, which is going to be a hell of a track, I've got to say, for racing. Spain for round 9 for our first European race and European leg even of the season. And then it's Imola 2 days before my birthday, which is going to be very neat. And then Baku on the December 3rd. That's also a sprint. God forbid how we're going to get that one through for round 11 of the championship. And then Netherlands for round 12 before we end off going for the Christmas break. But that is not all. That is not all. Sign-ups are still open for WOR console tiers and indeed for PC tiers as well. 2 days, I believe, you've got to get your sign-ups in. And if you want to try and race alongside the likes of BRC Joe Murphy, along the likes of Tom Roberts and along the likes of MVR Gabor, you can definitely do that in console tier 1 and indeed in other console tiers. All no assists, of course, and that is going to be the console tiers starting off on the 31st of October on Halloween, China, round 1 of the championship, and it's going to be a very interesting night's worth of action there. And of course, Console Tier 1 goes live on November the 1st as well. So the first day of November goes to China, and then a pretty packed calendar. United States, Singapore, Las Vegas, Great Britain, Netherlands, Hungary before the Christmas break, and then Canada, Austria, and Sao Paulo off that as well. You've also got this coming up. PC Tiers going live on November 11th, and it is a late start because PC Tier 1 currently running on Mondays as well, and that is going to be live on Monday the 28th. Daniel Field taking you through the action alongside, I think it's Nathan Richards, if I'm not mistaken, as the call comms for PC Tier 1. So you can tune in for that as well. That is going to be live on the 28th of October, so this time, well, not this time next week, but it will be on Monday next week. And looking through the PC tier calendar there, we've got the United States, Singapore, Las Vegas, Great Britain, Netherlands, Hungary before Christmas, and then China for January the 6th, Canada, and then Austria and Sao Paulo rounding off the season. Oh, we got there in the end, didn't we? But at the end of the day, I really hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, take that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We're going to leave you in the capable hands of our sponsors, Next Level Racing and indeed Gridfinder. We, luckily, are going to be taking a lie down this time next week. We will see you once again for WOR Legacy Division action in 2 weeks' time from the land down under, where the women go and men plunder. For myself, James Heard, from Jota, alongside me in the commentary box, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.